Alright, W. Got it. W. Alright, W. Got it. Okay, it's working. Yo, what up? Oh, what did I do? All right. What's up? Watch party time. Yup. And I got my pen to draw. Shroud X, boys. Let's see.
Welcome back to the only place you're allowed to get freaky with Groot. That's right. It's Rivals Fright Night. Brought to you by Uber and Jake. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
That's crazy.
We are now turning our attention to North America. Jake said, I want to get weird. I said, watch this. Here we go. Shroud X versus Shikigami. This is just the challenger match, Jake. And we're not even putting money on the line until later in the show.
I mean, both of these teams want the chance to go up against 100 Thieves in the money match. They're the juggernauts of North America. They've established it time and time again. And so this is a big opportunity for one of these teams to put that challenge to the best in North America and see if they can take the crown.
Uber, did you sew that together of your children's blankets, or what is this shirt made of today?
Sorry, buddy. That's definitely one image. That is a continuous image, bro. This is where I'd rather be.
That's all I'd say.
Sheesh. I mean, bro, I'm feeling good. I've been on holiday. I didn't get this shirt on holiday, although you'd be forgiven for thinking I did. I haven't had a holiday in 2 years, so I went away and skied in the Swiss Alps for a couple of weeks, and I'm back ready to do some Marvel Rivals casting. I've rested my voice, and I'm ready to rumble, brother.
You seriously went to Europe and went skiing?
I went to St. Moritz, baby. Yep, Swiss Alps.
You're kind of my hero right now. All right, unfortunately, we have to talk about video games tonight instead of skiing in the Alps, but we're glad you could join us. Let's talk about the teams here, Jake, because we got some good ones and a fun bracket for the night.
What is up? What is up?
Has a bit of experience playing against the Shikigami squad. In fact, they met up just a week ago in MRI. So talk to me about the showdown in the Invitational. What went down there?
What is up, everybody?
X looking for revenge. Shikigami was able to get the better of them.
Hopefully the audio's okay.
Although it was a strong show for Shikigami, I feel that at this point in Marvel Rivals, there's always that opportunity to innovate and improve. The Shroud X squad, they haven't been together for that long. So I think for both of these teams, it's an opportunity to show where you are now. Like what happened 1 week ago is in the past. And for these teams that are vying for the top that want a shot at 100 Thieves, well, they're going to have to be stepping their game up. And so I'm excited to see if Shroud X can do that today.
Uber, I thought it was so amazing when Nate Shaw went out, started his own org, he announced his 100 Thieves. Now Shroud announces Shroud X. What is this pressure as a player, knowing that he's streaming to 10, 15,000 people every time you go live?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I really do feel like it's kind of an evolution in esports. Like I think co-streaming was the first step in that regard, and like big streamers getting involved in esports in this kind of way and bringing new audiences. Now I think ever since like Disguised Toast started talking publicly about like what it took to run a team, and Shroud literally goes and raises the money for this team, it's kind of crazy, right? It's awesome to see a new way for these massive content
should be starting soon-ish.
These up-and-coming players. This Shroud X team, who were previously Intergalactic, of course, were fighting it out. They came together as a roster, improved themselves, caught the eye of someone like Shroud, and now they're here. Of course, this is why the team formed, right? Forget about the MRI. That was last week. Now it's Rivals Fight Night, baby. $1,000 on the line. That means Shroud's team wins this. It's $1,000,000, $1,000,000 he has to work with this team. That's pretty sick.
That is some decent money. Take a look at the roster that'll be banking on a win tonight. We got Doomed, Vision, Window, Impunity, Dogman, and Fidel. We don't know what Dong is going to be playing tonight, so we put a Jeff on there. Is the triple Vanguard
New person.
gonna be the way to play in NA?
New person on Shroud X.
Star-Lord like we just saw from
Or this might be their sub.
I mean, look, I do think that triple strategist right now is really potent. A huge
Interesting,
amount of that
interesting.
comes down to what Adam Warlock can do. And you know, when you bring in a Mantis, when you add that to the Star-Lord and you have that sort of staying power, that resurrect capacity because of the team up, that really makes that more viable. I do also think it's a strategy that you can target in the ban and protect. And we've seen
How's it going? How's it
before,
going?
sometimes with like the Loki, and if God forbid Lunar Snow ever makes it through, you can't ban out every strategist, and some of the more niche ones are getting looked at this stage in this patch, so I won't rule it out.
Shout
For me,
out.
I mean, I'm looking at Doomed and
Hope
Vision.
everyone's
I
doing
think
well.
These two duelists are a key part of the success for Shroud X. I would rather see them run double duelists when you have heavy hitters like Doomed and Vision on the squad. I want to see them on characters that they can really pop off with. They can find that individual impact. Those picks we've seen from top teams like 100 Thieves, they're
What's
very
up, Zach?
confident in taking risks, you know, letting heroes like the Hela through the ban phase and playing them with confidence, winning their duels. I think to be a top team, to put yourself in that
What up,
position
Michael?
of strategic advantage, you
Hello,
need to
hello.
have huge threats on the duelist lineup so you can draw some of those bans away from the strategists, away from the vanguards, and force people to just like respect ban your Hela. It doesn't
Fix
really
my
limit
audio.
the
Wait,
strategies
it's
you
better.
can play. It's just forced if you're dominating in the mirror.
Jake, where my brain is small, I jump into
What
the
is
game
up?
and I just play it over and over and over again until I'm decent. You use your brain and you think about what could give you an advantage jumping into a match.
You're doing well.
Is there an OP composition or hero that you want to see played tonight? Who do you think is at the top of the meta right now?
You know, I think one of the things that we've seen in a hallmark of NA is more and more teams are starting to let Hela through the ban phase and to just like take the duel heads up. Hela has been a super contentious hero really the whole history of Marvel Rivals because, you know, people call her
my
the
goat,
super admin,
Jake.
the way she just takes over the lobby and really defines in many ways the outcome of the game when you're getting these.
Hope everyone's
picks
doing
without
well.
Relying on ultimates or key resources. You know, you have
Just
some
trying out,
mobility, the stun,
trying
and
out
also
today
the
with the
huge
stream. See how it
playmaking
goes.
tool
Maybe
in the
we'll
right
make
moments,
this a
sometimes
regular
advancing
thing.
an ultimate. And so I think for the top
Hopefully it
teams,
does.
right, to be a team like Shroud X that wants to show you can compete with the big boys.
Get some extra
Shroud X is
content
gonna
in there
be
for the
really
boys,
something I have my
the
eyes
gang.
on. You need to be forcing the other team to respect ban your Hela, putting you in a position to dictate the rest of the match and sort of define, do you want to play triple strategist? You have a lot more power to do that if the opponent is always like first banning a Hela because they're just too scared to have it out on the field.
Well, let's see what Shikigami is bringing to the table tonight, Mitch. This is their second roster, the first one scooped up by FlyQuest, so the ownership group invest in these folks. What do you think of what we've seen so far outside of the upset in MRI?
First of all, Shikigami are
Yo,
very
yo,
good
yo.
at having to do this. They, in a lot of different games, they will pick up good rosters and often have them sort of, you know, picked apart a little bit by these bigger orgs that come mechanically to overcome just the power, I think, of healing in Marvel Rivals.
Jake, I don't think I've heard again more than twice in a row tonight. Is Bucky dead? Is he out on the meta now?
I wouldn't say Bucky's dead. I think it can still be.
Bucky's
super strong. I
dead?
think it's a
What?
question of whether teams want to let triple strategists through. If you let the Adam Warlock team up come through with the Star Lord, okay, it's probably a little bit stronger. Bucky, you know, with that level of mobility,
the res comp right now
field,
is
it's just not
annoying.
nearly as good to be, you know, playing for these hook pickoffs where you get this, you know, crucial hook, you find the pick, and then okay, they're just self-resed and
See how this goes.
That doesn't make the hugest difference in the.
Hopefully we see
However, I think, you know, teams maybe a little bit more averse to the triple strategist meta. Maybe
Adam ban.
focus on the Hela.
That'd be nice. I don't want to see res comp. Res comp gets annoying.
For me, that have the most
Since when?
strategic impact on the game, whether they're banned.
The Winter Soldier, yeah.
We've seen Hela and Wolverine both.
Bucky is everywhere. Yeah.
If Hela has like a great position to free fire from,
You're saying all of a sudden he's out of meta? He's pretty strong still.
And honestly, even teams that played really aggressive into the Hela, you still want a Hela of your own, and a lot comes.
He's
down
very
to just
Bucky or Winter Soldier is really good.
Very different in terms of
But you have to worry about
what it does to the game, but it makes the game much more critical about it from a
the res comp is just way more annoying to deal with, honestly.
Stepping a little bit, they're just gonna get pulled.
Permanent reses all the time. Super annoying to deal with.
The rest of the squad. So it really puts a lot of pressure on the team play. You know, making sure you cancel that enemy Wolverine's pull. We've seen a lot of like top level invisible one players be really good at particularly shutting down Wolverine when he tries to, you know, grab one of your teammates and kidnap them away. And so I think those are the two that I'm really excited with. Both of these teams, I mean, they sent us their rosters, their preferred heroes. They both put Hela and Wolverine.
It's crazy. Jake looks the exact same
really strong duelists that are meta
from when I used to watch him in Overwatch.
Where many teams have said, you know what,
bro looks.
deal with that. We want to focus on the team.
Bro has not changed.
The NA tends to be a little bit more individually confident in like, you know, let's take that coin flip. Let's take that gamble and just believe that.
2016 till now, he hasn't changed at all.
Something important about that vision. If you don't think you're the better team and you're always banning these key duelists, you're going to let the other team have more power in terms of what strategists they bring to play, the team ups they get with their vanguards. And so banning, I think, is a little bit of a sign of weakness if you're going to be banning Hela and Wolverine all the time.
After that TED Talk, Shroud X in Shikigami, if you're not in the lobby, we're going to kick you off the show. Neither of you get to play 100 Thieves tonight. No, honestly, Jake, it's amazing just listening to the depth of your knowledge on this game, and we're going to get to hear it throughout the night. Mitch, we're trying to get weird, though, and you came up with some amazing surf and turf. That was our Horn of Proteus and the Strangled combo from Groot. Is there anything else that we're hoping to see tonight? Because we had some amazing Jeff ultimates, but they weren't comboed with anybody earlier.
No, I mean, I thought it was really interesting to see that Jeff kind of targeted at shutting down front lines. Because again, like we talked about, burst damage is pretty important in Marvel Rivals.
Start the match.
Please. Cooldowns get tanks
start.
Through pretty easy, right? Vanguard in general very hard to break down. What could be more burst damage than literally insta-killing people by, you know, jumping off the map with them? And of course, sometimes you've got to jump off with them.
Oh, there we go.
Those Vanguards
Quick bans.
to get back onto ledges. So
low-key banned.
I don't expect to see it here. I'll leave that one in the niche column.
All right, we're not going to see
Wolverine ban
right away, and on the other side, Wolverine out of the game for Shroud X.
Saving Bucky? Question mark. Saving Groot. Okay.
Groot gonna be in the games tonight, Jake. All right, we're protecting a Vanguard right away.
Yeah, you know, I think a lot of teams have.
Saving Luna? Yo, thank you.
It really does, from the Vanguard position, dictate the pace of the game. It allows you to slow things down pretty significantly. Interesting to see that Loki is banned with the Luna Snow Protect and the Namor ban.
So they saved Luna but banned Namor? Ban Rocket?
Like the one-shot burst combo coming from, you know, Namor's damage damp Horde of Proteus with that ulti combo. On top of course, the team-up threat directly just making
Thank you for the sub, appreciate it.
Luna a little bit more effective in battle. Rocket Raccoon Man, pretty interesting. I mean, we've seen occasional Rocket comps with Bucky or the Punisher, but maybe just niche, and maybe Shroud X not feeling like they want to ban a super significant duelist. They clearly, both teams are going to let Hela through here, so expect to see a lot of that on Royal Palace.
And also, I want to point out the Adam Warlock team up is still on the table here, so a lot of powerful heroes pocket are actually available for these teams.
If you see
they let the Hela go through though.
The triple support is down. The res comps are going to be out and about.
Yeah.
We'll find out what is brought to the table for game number 1. Will we see Hela play?
Oh.
Rivals Fight Night. Fidel, stay on that jet.
Are they actually playing this?
Thank you very much.
That's.
Both of these teams fighting.
I hope they play Spider-Man, Venom. I want to see this.
Marvel Rivals Invitational champions of
Wait,
rivals, Fight Night
is this what they're playing?
Thieves. This, of course,
Spider-Man, Venom, Luna, Jeff, Star-Lord. Oh no, they're swapping. Boo.
we thought they might flex briefly on
Boring.
Venom, which is an option. It will be Groot and Jake. Feels like these Groot comps really benefit from being in control of the play.
Boring.
Winning that first fight really gives you an edge.
Interesting. They're going to go with the triple support here, really valuing that. But Shikigami think that they can get more done. They're going to let the triple support through with the Star-Lord, all the team ups. They're just valuing that raw poke damage. And honestly, on this map with all the open space, I feel like Hela and Winter Soldier get some space to work. They could really produce. It might be hard for Doom to get in on the
Something different than what they usually do.
Wise for Shroud X to actually
Shroud X doesn't usually play the res comp.
Ooh,
it's not good.
That's the volatility that the Hela invites into the game. Vision, of course, able to get back into the fight here with that karmic revival. Soul Bond active here on Shroud X as they want to push up just a little bit more. But Doom
We already lose the res though. Vision dies again.
Second time to Amadian, who is not missing on this Hela.
Yeah, Amadian gonna start to take over this fight now, right? And taking that
That's
vision,
not good. This is a very good position.
Would be actually challenging him. Star-Lord too scared to take this engagement. Support from Invisible Woman as
Very
well.
good position with the invis
He's gonna be
shield.
assisting in getting this fight cleaned up for Shikigami, and you know, with all the space to work.
I think they just have to mirror. I don't think the res comp is not going to work here.
As strong as you know, the Star-Lord can be with that res, Amadian just gets kills back to back to back and doesn't really worry about the reses.
I'm not a fan of res comp on Dom. I don't think it works well.
With that Invisible Woman, throw up the Guardian shield, gives some protection to the Hela, and also just passive healing so long as that shield is up. Now you can start to punish the fact that Shroud X need to move through a trap.
That's a very good wall placement.
Trying to set some of these walls up here to hit Shroud X as they move their way through. Soul Resurgence available for Nuck. He's going to pop it straight away.
Ooh, very good wall. Oh. Yeah. I think we have. I think Shroud X has the mirror comp. Like I said, I don't like the res comp on Dom, especially on Royal Palace. I just don't think it plays well.
That's all Hela really needs to accomplish. He's already done her work, securing a couple eliminations. These are just going to be stagger kills for Shikigami.
Like you have Hela,
aggressive commitment of ults on the high
you let Hela go through and you don't play Hela. Yeah. And then we see the swap. Doom stays on Star-Lord. He'll probably swap the Bucky after popping his ult, probably.
To the Hela, they're going to take the duel. I like this decision on the map, but is it too little too late?
Potentially.
Ooh, he lives.
Doomed at least gets a bulwark shield as they try and back away. Galactic Legend is available. They might want to try and get some airtime here as the Strangling Prison comes in and Impunity falls to Amadian again.
No, the hell is literally this farming.
Some value here on that Star-Lord, but Vision is caught on the outside of this fight.
Camera speed.
And we are already at 80% and counting. Shikigami are holding onto an invisible boundary to boot.
Yeah, Shikigami has a real mastery of this map, and they're just tightening the nukes now. Every hold is a little bit more forward, a little bit more aggressive as they take
Leaked camera speed.
The map away from Shroud X. Now it's going to be a little bit tough to get this recontest in. Vision gonna sneak in from lower, try to work a cheeky pick, and then he does have that ultimate to back up the.
This map isn't the best. What is Doom doing? Oh, touching, I guess. Does Invis ult this though, or Luna ult?
There's of course a fate of both worlds in play for Shikigami. They've come up with that ultimate at just the right time, and Ricky has not had to ultimate at all.
Oh, nice sidestep. Ooh, the double A, the double.
Amadian crucially picked off at the start of this fight. The mission's unperturbed here by, of course, that invisible boundary still happen to throw some of those shots in, but Shikigami are down to
the 3-piece by Dongman. Okay.
Before they are evicted.
What a name, Dongman.
Right, Shroud X, they're gonna get the flip here. Resets now coming for Shikigami. They've got what they came for. In
Dongman. What a name.
Capture, so it's just gonna be
insane.
One flip for Shikigami to win the round. However, easier said than done. Now, Shroud X, they're gonna be delivering to Hela themselves. Let's see if Vision can have that masterful defense that Amadian showed when they were in point control.
And again, they've got Fate of both worlds.
This is kind of what happens in like King of the Hill or Dom.
There's not a big combo.
You like you win the first point, get to 99, lose the last point, and then you start going to 99.
It's very powerful in its own right.
That's like how it happens all the time.
They do catch that front line out, and Daze is on the receiving end of some of that Magneto damage. He won't be able to limp away.
The back cap.
Camera
speed.
They are likely going to have to leave the point though.
It's unlucky. He gets a back cap, so he pulls the attention away so they can start creating space.
to hit the
But they
forward.
don't
I
really
think Shroud X
capitalize
are
on
getting
that
back into it to
space.
Keep resetting and dealing with this high ground, and they are just ticking up. It was a relatively cheap fight.
Holding up close here is like
feel pretty good about that for Shroud
an
X.
amazing
Going into the
idea.
next fight, they also have the advantage in the strategist ult department, so Shroud X actually in a pretty solid position. That being said, though, Doom
That's a good
pulled
pick.
into his death. Full back now for Shroud X. They try to regroup, try to meet that spawner. They're gonna have to fight 5v6 though.
You've got to watch out. Tainted Voltage can pull you down from the
We
sky
have
if you are airborne. It's something you've got to respect.
pretty good ults. We almost have Elo, we almost have Invis, we almost have all support ults on Shroud. Not bad.
Frontline pressure that's being put down. You can see Dongmin can't really hang around now.
Hopefully we get a good meteor.
Dongmin try and break himself out of this death.
That's
He
unlucky.
almost was able to catch on to Ricky, but
Didn't
couldn't bring it
connect.
down. The fate of both worlds for Shikigami keeps him nice and topped up.
Ooh.
Kraken impact comes in for days. We see the debuff
That's
of
good.
Fire
Shikigami
Burn.
didn't find the Invis. Oh, okay. Vision just kills everybody. That's insane.
Comes out with Moby Dick. That is messed up. Vision good for 4. Shroud X shut
Okay.
Shikigami's face.
I
They've used all their ultimates, Jake, but they're good for this. One
Sure.
more fight will decide the round.
I guess that happened.
Shikigami heads up swap here to the Doctor Strange. They're gonna gamble everything on the TP to point, try to brawl it out from
Bro-
there.
bro
Shroud X
killed everybody.
is coming. They're waiting on the point,
They
waiting for the
do
teleport.
TP.
Magik is well online. Can she bring that chaos?
That's not good.
Here we go. From above. Got us a death here from
Good
above.
focus.
They're gonna be knocked out of it here. It looks like they didn't quite get the value they
Burn the
needed.
Hello ult as fast as you can because you have no defensive ults ready.
Groot off the table here for Shroud X. Fidel and Nook gonna have to keep them topped up.
If
and
Mag-
big
yeah,
chance to tough
that's
ass
unlucky.
Dynamite able to bring Nook down. We have a switch to the Magik of all things. Days coming off the Winter Soldier.
We get
is
the
able to find
swap
some value.
to Strange. Maybe he can
Security
portal
will
fast
look on
enough.
in dismay as Shikigami spend much of the round
Unlucky.
getting folded in that second
That's
half,
so
but
unlucky.
come back to reclaim the point.
Maybe a tiny bit of over-ulting from Shroud X in that last fight to secure control of the point, but that was an extremely close first round after a great start from Shikigami. So Shroud X, I don't think they're out of this one yet. I think we're in for a pretty competitive series based on how that round went.
That's unlucky.
Curious to see what Dongmin rather can work on the Magneto. Was a big performer.
That's why I don't like the King of the Hill game mode in this
I
game.
think we saw Vision get 2 kills off
One
the
fight
match
can
from
either win you the
the
game, one fight
detonation
can lose you
of,
the game.
knocked out enemies. I think you got 2 kills from those. So Shikigami must have been so grouped up inside that invisible boundary, Jake, that they ended up going down to like the
So
aftermath
unlucky.
explosion
Nothing you
to
can really do
down
about that.
teammates.
Yeah, I think there's all the control coming in from those Vanguards, from the rest of the squad. Now both teams queuing up a little bit more.
I think
of that
Convergence
front-to-back
and Convoy
style.
just like
Shroud
way
X
better.
Confident that they can take the mirror on the duelist front. So a lot of pressure, especially I think on the Buckies, the Hellas on this map. There's not as much space to work with. You get forced into these more, close quarters duels that are a little bit less comfortable. And it's, I think, a real test of these players' ability to just win those early 1v1s and create opportunities for their squad.
Kraz being able to bring almost 3/4 of that ultimate into this next fight here might be critical. As Impunity is soaking up most of the damage here. See the screen being thrown up there by the Magneto.
Cute.
Desperately gonna have to back away. Nice use of the bulwark there. Impunity will live to fight another day, but Shikigami have priority and a start in the cap.
This is a
Lucky.
big advantage here. Now you have to walk forward on this group.
Let's go
taking tons of
Team
damage.
Shroud.
Full commitment from Shroud X. They look to contest this point, but pulled in by Bucky. Groot
That's
is
a really
in big
good
trouble. However,
elim.
traded right back.
Daze is gonna fall now. Winter Soldier.
We have Invis ult, we have Luna popped.
There's gonna be Fidel with the fate of both worlds now.
That
Shikigami
should
have
be
to
a
bring this
wipe
out, but
or a
they do not
win.
have the staying power. Meteor
I'm not
X
sure
here,
why we're
desperate
doing
for
Meteor
the
M there.
Mighty
That doesn't make
Venom X in
sense.
the back pocket for
Lucky's
another
everywhere?
fight.
Yeah.
Clearly hoping to try and
Lucky's
take
everywhere.
down
You
the
can't even
Slowly
escape in the
Beast,
pro
but also
matches.
invests an ultimate here. Really, it feels like it's
They're
just
staggering
going to
pretty
drive
hard.
things out.
He does get
Not
the
only control
repick
the point
or
there,
refrag.
Vision's
That's
able to
good.
find a Marty and eventually Shroud X.
They should add CTF and 2 for it. True, what's up, Ian?
Shikigami threw good money after bad
2
in
for it
that
and
fight,
CTF.
dumping that Luna Snow ultimate despite losing players, and so Shroud X
2
in
for it would
control
go
with
crazy.
5 full ultimates. They're in a fantastic position. Needs a bit of a hero play right now from Shikigami if they want to win this next fight. Maybe the best you can hope for is just draining this massive ultimate bank that Shroud X have to work with.
Here's Doomed on the screen. Kraken impact at the ready. Bear in mind, though, Shikigami still have plenty to work with themselves. We've run into a huge bank of ultimates on either side pretty quickly in this round. 24% and counting. Shikigami
High tower. Add high tower.
here, and Doomed might have to reposition
Gonna
very
burn that
quickly.
ult.
The damage
Nice.
coming in around, but most of the Shroud X players are able to get out of line of sight of that. Daze, though, finds some
No
relief.
value with the
Connects with
hello ult.
Impunity, and now the Groot is out of the picture. An invisible boundary is going to be drawn here.
I'll
Daze
move
has to
this.
work from the outside of it, though. Here's Meteor M. That's scary.
Unlucky.
Dongmin gets deep, tries to throw it out. A scatter Genki does go down.
This guy's
Shroud
tweaking.
X Still with the advantage.
Yeah, they're in control for now.
Guy's got like 100,000. What?
Forced into ult. trying to clear this Hella off the flank. Gets the job done in the end. It's an expensive hold, but
Why are we Hella ulting there?
control of the capture, ticking up over 60%. Now Shikigami on the retake. They have an incredibly potent ultimate setup though. Crazy Man, if
That Hella ult is interesting.
Strangling Prison, you're going to be hearing some agains in this next team fight. That Bucky ultimate, so insane at cleaning up. However, Fidel almost has the Luna Snow ultimate. That's going to be the key number to watch right now as Shikigami look to get in.
Yeah, up to 90% now. Fidel is definitely going to have that Fate of Both Worlds ready for this next fight. Shikigami biding their time, but there's only so long they can afford to waste. It's 80% and counting now for Shroud.
Yeah.
Time to go in. Big damage here taken by Impunity, but they're able to jockey back a little bit now. Shikigami surely have to...
Really good wall placement there.
Crazy Man's trying to get there, of course. Daze has a cracking impact.
Ooh, that's unlucky. The reset. Maybe burn through the ults. No, we can't. Really good wall there.
Have to regroup. They still haven't capped the point, but a Meteor M might
oh, he lives. He lived that. Really? What?
Finally get control.
Surprised he didn't die to that Mag ult.
To deploy that invisible barrier to secure the point flip. And now Shroud X have the clear edge as they look to get in on this retake.
Shroud X should win this because Mag ult's gone. We have Invis ready. This should just be free. You should walk onto the point to ult. Unless the Hella manages to get a pick onto someone, then it might be a little scary. Like that.
Here comes a cracking impact now coming
good refrag at least.
Already falling to Dongmin. Amadian floating above the action is caught out by Vision. A sitting duck to the enemy Hella. Scouting again, trying to back away. Attain a voltage will connect, and Shroud X are back in
good little movement.
Folks. Shikigami seemed to be in disarray. Nothing Daze could have done there. Caught out, and Dongmin really connecting these shots when it counts. Shikigami,
we have Hella ult. We almost have Luna ult.
Reinforcements come, but they are going to be
Be good.
the entirety of this fight. And that's going to be an even
good.
Nice pull in by the invisible woman there, getting the clean up.
Throne room.
Shroud X, getting that Magneto off the corner of the point where he's trying to just dance.
We got a game, ladies and gentlemen. We got a game on our hands.
Pretty strong round. However, now we're 1-1. We go to the decider. Curious to see if either team will swap it up or back down. I can't see that, honestly, with how this game has been playing out with Amadi and Vision going blow for blow on the Hella. I think both of these players are going to have that confidence to keep this going. Maybe the whole series, Mitch.
It's pretty satisfying, Jake, that
so they
much of our initial conversation was the juxtaposition of the triple
Shroud X put Window on the bench, I guess, even though Window is arguably really good. In my opinion. I guess he didn't work well with the team.
Shroud X have been vastly improved, especially over the course of this round. 20k damage, that's for someone who was not playing Hella from the start of the round. So outsized impact is an understatement. Goddess of Death available for Vision for this first fight, and Shroud X feel like they've got the wind in their sails now.
Yeah, it speaks to Vision's experience in the genre, right?
Too much money Shroud is burning on his team.
What they expected
Probably
to
a lot.
be the strongest, and it would take them maybe a map loss or two before they can adapt. Vision, it's like half of one round, and he's already feeling the pressure.
Alright, Shikigami should win first fight, and then probably get to 99 in his snowball.
Of course, we're going to meet in the middle here.
More ults equals easier win.
You see Marty already trying to take one of those little off angles up there, but it's a tight one at best, and with these group walls in the way, it may be difficult for sidelines to be set up here. There it is. That was the strangling.
That's just unlucky. The Bucky Groot combo is just insane.
But it was worth it. Beautifully done. That's 2 kills off the back of that. And Shikigami are on the road.
It's a full to wipey.
Focus fire though from Shikigami. They're able to kill through
and a good stagger in the group. That's annoying.
A mistake from Fidel. He had the ultimate exactly the time it was needed. Shikigami just found the burst all through that threshold. I mean, pretty impressive actually, even with the Kraken impact, you know, mitigating some of that. That's just well played from Shikigami. I think a big test of these teams in Marvel Rivals is how much they're able to hit that focus fire and over.
It's a really good angle by this Hella.
It's a great point. I mean, there is just so much healing that you've got to be on the same page. The shot calling's got to be extremely crisp in terms.
This is a dirty angle.
Focus down.
Really good flank.
Probably to try and assassinate a backline here pretty quickly now, but you got
oh,
these shots okay.
the Invis ult, clutch.
And it's going to be an ultimate here from Vision. Damage is coming down. It's unclear what Vision
is happening.
Done.
Nice. That's unlucky.
between their shoulder blades. A little bit awkward, but Shikigami are happy to drag this out a little bit and to win the fight to boot. They're above 50% in this round.
Yeah, Maddie, and I think brought a lot of chaos into that.
If we
fight.
stagger
The
here, it's
instant
probably
picks he was
lost.
looking for, but maybe force some of those strategist ultimates to come out a little more quickly.
Shroud not looking good right now.
Now, Shroud X on the
We only have Luna ult.
Shikigami who have the ultimate advantage. See who can work a pick. Maybe Fidel can charge up that Luna Snow ultimate and make the key difference.
If the
here.
Bucky
It's
can
a lot more
ult,
difficult for Shikigami to
right?
find the resets with
If
no
they're running
juggling.
Bucky,
I mean, this is Shroud X's best window, Jake. There's no two ways about it, and that's even with having a Kraken impact at the ready. How do they extract
they
value?
might have
Just
banned
one
Rocket,
ultimate.
so they don't have to play into
Onto that Kraken impact for a time. Goes a little bit low. It's getting a little bit messy.
into it. Honestly, I think Rocket's a very good character.
Ricky trying to keep a respectful distance for now.
Despite what anybody says, does a ton of healing. He can do a ton of damage. His ultimate is relatively good, and he can get a res onto a teammate every 45 seconds. I think Rocket's insanely good. But I think they banned Rocket because Shroud wanted to run the res comp, which is Star-Lord, Adam, Mantis. So they banned it because they probably weren't going to play Winter Soldier, Hela. And then Shikigami decided to play Winter Soldier Hela, so they just mirrored. They had a mirror. It's like that's the only way to win against a Hela Bucky is to mirror it. And just pray that your two DPS players can aim. Seems like an odd choice, yeah.
Could stop Shikigami in their tracks, even with an invisible boundary for Shikigami to make use of. They are the interlopers now in this situation. They can at least play from this high ground now as Crazy Man and Scattergengi trying.
Hey, all I know is we're getting a twerking emote, and I love this game now. This game is the best game ever. They're adding a twerking emote. That's all I care about. Gonna be able to start twerking as the thing and stuff. W. We're dying as Envy. He gets pushed off? No way.
Yeah, Shikigami are going to be cleaning up on map 1 here. Vision pops the ultimate, but no way you're getting value with the full focus.
Hello, Bucky 2 OP right now.
And that was a tough one for Shroud X. Like,
they're running res comp, makes sense for the ban. Yeah, exactly. We lost that fight even though we had full 6 ults on Shroud X. That's not good.
Pretty easy from there on out. From Shikigami, they were willing to play it patient.
The res comp is just
in their duelist to get that
so good. You either res comp or you play Hello Bucky. That's it.
Looking to repeat history on Shroud X, but Shroud X have showed that they have a real fight in them that I think we're going to see more out of this team throughout the series.
Absolutely. Look at Crazy Man's performance. 32k damage over the course of the game.
I don't get how my Hela I don't get how my Invis is getting pushed off.
Exactly what you want to see for two teams that are vying for the chance to take on 100 Thieves and of course fight for that $1,000 prize money pocket. This is the kind of start we want. This is what gets my blood running.
That was that first game we wanted. Unfortunately for the S-Men, they run out of gas. Jake, is it going to be Bucky time? Because we saw the best out of Visions you're going to get. The man's popping off on Hela, but he got melted in that final round.
It's like,
I do think Bucky is.
If you want to climb the ranks,
with these teams,
you either pick. If you want to climb the ranks as a duelist, you either pick Star-Lord, Hela, or Winter Soldier, and you just win the game.
That being said, I think both these teams
Characters are so strong right now.
I think this is a really strong Hela map. There are other maps that maybe that triple strategist can work. Maybe teams will elect to ban the Hela to change things up. However, Maddie and Vision, I think both these players after.
I hope for season 2 they're nerfing Hela. I beg.
They gotta run it back. They gotta run it back. I think that this is also because the Namor is banned, right? So you do at least have the Winter Soldier to combo with the Strangling Prison, right? Something else that can drop on into that very powerful AoE ultimate from Groot here. But yeah, if we see like Hela looked at, that means like someone like Namor comes back in. So there's always going to be a very powerful duelist. And I feel like if Shroud X were to ban the Hela, that feels like a concession to me, Puckett.
If I don't want to, I want to nitpick, but we should not be losing the last fight when we have 6 ults. It just doesn't make sense.
In the current meta. Shout out to everyone tuning in. We've got 12,000 over on Shroud Stream, co-stream.
Like, we get everyone with Bucky ult, then we sit on Groot, we sit on Invis, we have Mag ult, and they somehow died. I don't... Shroud X could have won that. Oh, another Dom map.
It's going to be loser map pick, and really the only restrictions on map pick is that we can't repeat maps throughout the series. So Shroud X have total discretion here. They can take us to their very best map, and that's honestly what I think a lot of the teams are going to do. Just bring out your heaviest hitters, equalize the series 1-1. This does mean, though, for Shroud X losing map 1, they're gonna have to at some point overwhelm Shikigami and win a map of Shikigami's choice if they want to make the run back in this series. It's inevitable. It's also something that, you know, realistically, you want to beat the top teams in Marvel Rivals. You can't be totally reliant on getting your maps. But this
I do not like Koth or Domination.
Gonna see what they have cooked up.
Shout out to the chat. I saw someone asking, is that Jake from ESPN and Uber from Disney XD? It is, guys. It's them.
You were on Disney XD as well, Puckett. I mean, you're not getting away with that one, bro. And so was Jake, just in a different capacity. I just want to point that out. It's not just me. So
High key, would love an Neymar nerf too. More? True.
Please continue on. We have 2 more matches to go here in NA. This one about to get underway. You can see Hell's Heaven is going to be loading up. Bans and Protects coming in next. Players to watch coming into another round of domination. I want to start with you, Uber, and also for the chat. Do you have a link to your shirts?
This is a Bershka one. I'm pretty sure you can get it from ASOS, or at least you could back in the day. But look,
I don't know what they would do to nerf him though.
The Overwatch League, I asked her to get me up, and she did. So that's where that comes from. I've had it for like 8 years. Yeah. Anyway, let's jump in. We got bans.
I'm not sure what they do. I guess nerf maybe to slow on the turrets. I'm not sure. Look ban. We do the same bans.
Quick update from BDANs. The team wasn't funded by chat. It was a goal to make a team if we hit 1 million for charity.
Okay.
Thank you, B-Nans. Appreciate you coming by and clarifying things. Now back to the bans. We've got Loki gone. We have Wolverine gone. Will we see Star-Lords and Adam Warlocks?
I mean, okay. Honestly, it's kind of wild that we really sort of didn't see more inclination towards the Star-Lord on that first map. I think that, again, it's just how deadly Hela is against any. I think Star-Lord comes in.
Turret damage is slow, yeah.
Because you notice Adam Warlock was available. It changes the.
Are they just doing identical bans?
Looks like Impunity really wants to play more Groot.
I mean, right now, both teams are just running it back from map 1, and honestly, it was an incredibly close map. I don't blame either squad for just still having confidence, for not wanting to make any big changes. I mean, going to Hell's Heaven is going to be enough of a shift, and
ban that rocket, bro. Do it.
I think this is the biggest opportunity is for Shroud X to maybe change their second ban, but
yeah.
I'm not convinced they
okay, interesting.
Just target banning a comfort pick for Shikigami, one that they don't intend to use themselves. I think perfectly reasonable to make no.
I guess Shikigami. Or maybe make the CD for the turrets longer. Yeah, that's fair.
What was an incredibly close map 1. You might argue, like, if round 1 they had just rolled out on that helicopter.
Maybe you turn down the amount of time they're empowered for.
A very different map 1. We could have seen Shroud X take it. So
when you get a headshot or the right click off.
Run it back on the Helenier.
Yeah, I need someone with a higher rank to tell me, is this rocket ban a troll, or are you really just trying to get rid of the Z-Pack, aka the infinite damage that you're going to get from Bucky?
Honestly, rather than the more... Oh my god, I'm sorry, my mic just peaked. I'm so sorry. Rather than the more, like, nerf, I think a Star-Lord nerf is, like, way more needed. I think Hela's Star-Lord need to be nerfed. I think Bucky is okay. I think they just need to change his damage down a little bit, and he's fine.
I think Rocket also is just kind of good on this map. There's like a lot of spots to put the res beacon that are really hard to clean up if you don't run a flanker, and it can be super annoying, can lead to these crazy fights. You know,
this is going to be a Luna.
Pressure from the
is a Luna or Invis not?
A huge threat.
After the speeding up,
though, you know, from Shikigami,
give the boys the speed boost.
Following up, especially the Bucky ultimate. It's not just Bucky, of course. He's
so they're doing res comp,
he's gonna land the
and they're doing the Bucky
it takes a top
Hella,
to have the
and we know
focus
that
fire.
they
I think
won on
in
Bucky
that
Hella,
last
so
map, it
why
was
don't we
Shikigami
mirror?
that had a decisive advantage.
But I
Once
guess
again,
this
though, Strategic
point
going
is
back
good
to
for
the
res
strategist,
comp.
believing in it on this map. It's a little bit more
This
enclosed,
is
but
a good map for
still
res
on
comp,
board,
I will
and
say.
Mantis put in
So
the work
maybe
right
it
now.
works now.
Again,
Hopefully.
we also have the team up here with Adam Warlock in play. So Doomed and Nuck, of course,
I'd rather not see Shroud's
again,
team get
that much harder
steamrolled.
to remove from the game in general. Doom can play just with that extra level of aggression here. The Guardians of the Galaxy team up is a little powerful at the moment. Just like we saw in Europe. Shikigami, though, putting out some good damage. Look how low vision is right now. In fact, everybody taking a face as they try and push
He
up.
through, build up the ult charge.
Over the top, though. Not quite enough to secure.
We almost have mag ult already.
Heal pressure being put down by the Star-Lord here. Doom, though,
And Hella ult.
damage, especially from this front line. As these walls come up, there'll be vines.
That's not good.
Damage on Crazy
You're
Man.
playing
Definitely
triple
Shikigami keep
healers.
their Groot alive, and Amadi
And you're
Warlock
losing
take Impunity out of the game.
Root right away.
Picking up the Groot is a huge opportunity for Shikigami to get
And you
back
lost
in,
your other
start closing
tank.
the cap. Crazy Man follows it up with another one onto Dongmin, and now
I don't
Venom
think
walls down, no
I don't
Vanguard
think
to
this is
stop it.
enough healing for 2
Cleaning out
tanks.
here on the point. It'll
I
be
think
a
they
great
just have to
step back.
mirror.
Shredx have 20% in the bank.
I think
It's
they
not
should
nothing
stick to what they know
write
best.
home about here. However, Shikigami looking at a full stack of pretty much going to have 6 ultimates for this next team fight. Now we're going to see Shroudex. Do they have the execution?
I feel like Star-Lord
to
is hard to
handle the triple
balance.
strategist
Yeah,
comp? I think
that's
this is
true.
much more
He's a very
challenging comp from a
interesting
team play
character.
perspective to execute. You know, these strategists need to be really on point when it comes to getting these incredibly long fights to actually go your way.
I don't know how they would balance Star-Lord.
A lot of the time, she needs to use that ice arts, honestly, to go on the aggressive. Here we go. Shredder going to try and push their way out. It's going to be a soul resurgence to start this fight off. A Meteor Rem, though, threatens them from above. Scattergengi about to deploy that one now.
Very good meteor. That's good. He couldn't get Luna, but I still think that was a very good meteor. At least he got an Elam.
Vision is out of the game. They should be able to come back with Cocoon Revival. Yep, they will be into the fight pretty quickly.
We take those. We take those.
Still working with a full
Good
cohort.
Groot ult.
The strangling prison comes
Nice.
down on Amadi and had nowhere to go. Vision blows him up there with the standard attack, and this will be Shroud
Pretty
X
good. Pretty good.
victorious. Should be able to break back in now. As it's just Scattergengi to be shifted off the point, Ricky to be cleaned up, and we're good as gold.
You see the twerking emote they're adding?
Get the flip back, but Shikigami held on tight.
So
to
stupid.
Many of their critical
It's so
ultimates to try to
stupid.
make that
It's so
hold, and they
funny.
failed. So Shroud X are actually in a fantastic position in the
And they're
round.
also adding a
This map in
$2
particular for
bundle
triple strategists,
tomorrow.
holding on to the point
A
is
Venom
incredibly
skin,
strong with
and
the
then
ability for
some stuff
Star-Lord
you can
to
do
play
for some
above, choke
challenges,
points on off
which is pretty
angles.
cool.
Really awkward to walk in. Now Amedian, he doesn't have any of that space to work with.
And a new Hawkeye skin, which I'm going to be buying.
Back into the map, and he's going to have to be dueling vision the whole time.
Yeah, it's also awkward, I think, when the point shifts to being higher than your spawned location.
Oh, what a
It's hard to
pull.
get a vantage point. Nice little combo there, Barnacle catching Impunity. No need for Days there to make use of that.
We have res.
ultimate, of course, but there was a wall that cut off the enemy.
Doesn't-
Groot. This is a
we
huge
are
player
gonna
advantage,
be
so I'll
resing.
just be glad that Groot also doesn't benefit from the team up with Adam Warlock. That would be ridiculous. Impunity, though, does get revived with that Karmic Revival. This is Shroud X still at full force. Vision values the Groot enough to spend an ultimate on bringing just him back.
Groot and Venom gonna go crazy now.
Vision really
Yeah.
while he was ulting, and so
The twerking
Amedian
emote goes
planned the
crazy.
shots to cancel that out. Now though, they're charging into the
Let me
room
see if
with
I can
that little
find
Star-Lord,
it.
taking the commitment to Shikigami. Ults being popped from both sides.
Yeah, finally seeing that cracking impact here from Days, and 2 players got caught by that debuff. Nuck goes low, and Impunity will.
It's so funny.
It's the duel as the Shikigami able to stand up and provide the damage where needed to break through the immense healing throughput of this triple strategist look.
Shroud X gonna get up to 92% now. Flip comes in for
Oh.
Shikigami.
They're gonna go.
1 or 2 holds here. They
Crazy.
have a couple valuable tools, especially Ricky with this invisible barrier. Timing and positioning on the ultimate are gonna be key. Really
So
needs to be
funny.
careful. If you pop this off point, there's always the threat.
This is
of
why
Shroud
this
X
is the
just
best
taking
game in the
fight
world.
to the cap. Same time, you also have to worry about Crazy Man, the opportunity to open with that strangling prison. We've seen how good they are at focus firing it.
Emote goes crazy.
One of this the world as well. The Mardian can actually combo with that. It's the only other real sort of ultimate that might be able to link up with AoE capacity.
Imagine like getting a team wipe. Imagine getting a team wipe and doing that on your enemies. Oh, that's an insane Groot ult. That's very good.
Damage being put down. Nuck gets there as well. Scattergengi gonna fall now, and Mardian doesn't have much to do from up on high. Fate of both worlds really staves off much of that hella damage, and now Shroud X are getting back in control here. Nuck, of course, coming back.
Imagine diving an enemy and hitting him with the twerk emote. That's
Trying to
crazy.
shut himself in. I get it. A Shroud X, excuse me, able to flip back now, and Shikigami have to portal in to even contest.
We do get the TP
Still
in
just a
time.
couple spawners not yet available. A little bit of off sync there.
We get the
Lucio coming back
invisible.
to the fight. This barrier though from the invisible woman is securing the recontest. Shikigami, they're gonna have a chance, and they have Just crack an impact now.
No way!
Before the resets.
Okay, Galactic Legend has to be massive here, but they've got to get past the shield of Scattergengi after switching. To this tank, of course, is going to be crucial. Doomed is going to have to revive, excuse me. He's going to be out of the fight for a while. Karmic Revival going to be used.
That's not good.
Crazy Man gets rid of him straight away, and Impunity is surrounded. Doomed is low, has to come in off the top rope here, but doesn't have any healing to work with. As Fidel and Nuck just don't have the line of sight. Agamotto comes over. Scattergengi built that awfully quickly, and now he starts whipping it good, folks. Nuck falls.
That's not good.
Just when it looked like they dropped this round,
Yikes.
come back in with a sick portal. Scattergengi builds up an
I hate Portal with a passion.
That's so huge that Shikigami in the previous fight were able to get the flip with only 92% for Shroud X, right? If Shroud X had 95, 96%, maybe that retake doesn't come through. They were able to burst Ricky down as well in the Strangling Prison before he could get that invisible barrier off. So this is an impressive fight. I mean, I'm kind of curious. I actually feel, did Shikigami, did they intentionally not commit that invisible barrier, knowing that they could get the TP back in and that strategist ult would give them the decisive advantage to win the round? If so, they are playing with a really small margin right here. But that's the mark of some of the strongest teams, though, in the hero shooter genre. They're willing to take risks. They're willing to push things down to the second, maybe the millisecond, in finding that little advantage.
I don't know if they all were aware of that, because Fix was halfway back to the point the old-fashioned way, Jake, and you saw them have to turn around and hot-foot it.
Maybe I'm giving him a little too much credit. It was just good focus fire from Shroud X.
I don't know.
Unexpected burst through on that strategist. Now, though, once again, advantage for Shikigami.
I don't
in round two.
think.
Yeah, I think just having that fate of both worlds for a first fight that they can play more aggressively and just try to walk up on the back.
I don't think
Strangling Prison
Shroud X is good at the res comp. I don't think they should play it.
I've got both of these strategist ultimates ready to leverage. This is a pretty scary prospect here if you're Shikigami. And they've got to be tracking some of those now, which can be hard to do, of course, in this game. And there are days.
Get Groot ult. Get at least both tanks. Should be able to get the Luna ult out. Counter Mantis.
Ricky gets picked off. They got split off to the right side, Jake. And Shikigami.
Unlucky. Can get the Luna though. Nice.
Just what you
Do the hell up? Give me one more.
Shroud X right now. This is another
job.
map where particularly close quarters, particularly difficult for these duelists to work their picks. I mean, we've seen
Very
FaZe
good
and,
start,
Vemedi
boys.
find their magic before, but this is an especially difficult spot for it. I think this is a map where I think the triple strategist is just a stronger look. So Shroud X maybe having the confidence that in the fullness of this entire map,
Triple
that they're gonna
strat.
have the edge
I mean, triple
strategically.
strategist
Shikigami
is
seems
good,
to can work some kind of a pick, but this walk-up is a very difficult
especially on this map.
Absolutely, and there's just so much that could snarl them
It's
up
definitely a snowball type
Once they get onto
effect.
the point, they'd be subject to Galactic Legend. Could be scary.
Mm,
Yeah, Diggs gets caught out here. Look how low
Good.
Scattergengi he is, and there's just not much you can do. You are walking straight into the ocean here with how Shroud X are set up.
Nice.
Play off the point inside a choke and cut you to the quick.
yeah.
This is going to be another 10 to 15 to 20.
I'm cheering for Shroud
It's
X.
a really nice fight
Wondering.
for them. They play with the advantage.
They definitely deserve the
Ensuring
win.
they don't
Like,
dump ultimates, putting them
they
in
kinda
a
got
position to
cooked in the
slow and
MRI
continue to
by
get ahead of the round. This
Shikigami.
next fight, though,
It's like a
likely
revenge
gonna be
arc.
A long one, an explosive one with a lot of ultimates ready to be deployed. That being said, I'm curious to see if Shroud X look to still start it off on the
There's
right
a lot of
foot, look
ults
for those
though
aggressive
on
openings
Shikigami,
before
so
Shikigami
they
can
should
off
win the
initiation. It
fight
seems that this time
based
they're
on.
content to play slow, but the point
Actually, it's almost 6 ults versus 6 ults besides Luna ult.
That is absolutely brutal.
So Shroud
Suffice
X
to
should
say,
win
a
the
change of
fight.
tack required here for Shikigami as the map does morph. Martin's trying to go for an off angle here, but you just don't have the
They pop
burst damage to get through
invis.
an invisible boundary.
Good,
So
good.
Martin is hoping they
How's
step
Hawkeye
up.
into this camp? I feel like he could be really
Shikigami
useful.
push Shroud X out of that invisible boundary. Lay some damage down. Kraken
He just-
impact came online for days, but
I mean, like,
found two. They are
in
gonna
what
commit
comp?
a meteor into this fight. The Galactic Legends coming over the top by Doomed. Can this bail Shroud X out? As Shikigami
Like playing into
back
it?
edge,
Like
pushing
playing
back into the fight.
Hawkeye?
Cocoon revival though, but Impunity had already fallen now. Days checking that high ground, but no, he's happy
Like,
enough just to go to work on
if this
Goldie.
person
Taken
changed
out of
to
the fight.
Hawkeye,
Here
you're
comes a
saying?
Karmic revival here from Vision. Able to bring two back into the fight, but it's unlikely that's going to do more than stall this point out a little bit more. Allow Shroud X to get to 99.
What do you mean?
Has been so great with these pulls on the Winter Soldier, making a difference once again.
I want to say yeah.
They are gonna get the flip. Now the shoe is
My
on
heart,
the other foot.
I
See
really
if
want
they can
Hawkeye to
come
be
back.
useful
They are gonna get
into
a
this
couple
comp, but
key
you,
stagger kills.
unfortunately,
They're
you
gonna
just
look
play
them up.
Hella.
Well, that's fine. Quick
You just
reset.
play
As I
Hella.
say,
Like it,
just end it real quick.
Hella's too good.
He was so close to his
Hawkeye into Hella Bucky? I mean,
Shikigami here.
Yeah, but you just play Hella. Hawkeye isn't that good at pro play because there's too many risks and variables with Hawkeye compared to Hella. Hella can 2-tap anybody. The ultimate's a little bit more useful, more mobility. If you're playing Hawkeye, you lack mobility. The ultimate can be beneficial. You can get rid of some of the strategist ultimates, but it's like it's a very risk-heavy decision to play it. But I would play it. I do it anyways.
He's been a difference maker in rounds past. See if you can find something as Daze though. Looking in on the
flank. That's a really good combo.
Maybe more.
There is something so satisfying, Jake, about seeing that little impact indicator.
Nah, bro, they're staggering her.
That's the combo, right? That was the strangling prison plus Kraken impact.
You should have gave it the Bucky so he could reset. But
the win in situations like that, and Shikigami are up to 62.
That's so powerful. They're able to win it off with that combo. Now it's a big fight for Shroud X. So they've got everything they should need to make this comeback. That being said, there's always the risk that somebody like a Maddie in her days finds a hero pick, finds something that they shouldn't. Shroud X can't give any kind of
even though the res comp is good, I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. You put too much trust and faith into one player to provide, and that's your Star-Lord. If the Star-Lord doesn't do well, the comp is not good. Oh. One more? Oh. Good mag ult. Nice. There goes the Invis ult. Very good connection.
Domin swinging with the sword. Fidel able to get that Ice Arts involved to take the Groot down, and that's what Shroud X needed. That's what's going to keep him alive in this map. In the dying seconds of our second round,
ult advantage on Shroud X for next point. Pretty good. Pretty good by them.
It's a massive Meteor M connection from Dongmin, right? Shuts down the opposing invisible woman, denies a lot of that sustain, allows you to win the team fight critically.
I don't know what they would. I don't know what they could do to Hawkeye to like make him better. I think he's already pretty solid. I think he's like A tier, if anything. I think putting him A tier is perfectly fine. I wouldn't say he's S. I think A is fine. I say Hella's S. You also have to team up. What also sets it apart is because since Loki is so good, if you play Hella, you get the team up. You can get two people back, or get a person back into the fight. That's why it's like so good to play Hella, because Loki's played a lot.
Have a Lunar Snow ultimate up their sleeve, one they didn't have to use in the last fight of their previous round, which takes some judiciousness, I think, not to just throw out there to secure it, given it was 99 to 99. So they can have that to lean on here, Jake.
Pretty good.
Scattergang, yeah. I wonder if he's gonna go for an opening TP. Seems like it will be a move to the high ground. This map we've seen
early TP for high ground control.
So I like this idea of taking high ground very early.
Interesting.
Be on the Doctor Strange though, so without the Magneto, maybe a
you lose the Magneto though.
However, you think the rest of their comp makes up for it well.
And again, if they can just occupy this high ground and use the shield to make it punishing, but create a virtual choke that Shroud X have to challenge, that's pretty big. However, Shikigami are unseated from this high ground. They're forced to play now down towards this low ground, and Doom can sort of flip over the top.
Pretty good damage, pretty good. Ooh, good Groot ults. Good Groot ult, but no follow-up damage, unlucky. We do Luna ult though, so that's one defensive ult gone. No defensive ults? Oh, this should be big. Yeah. Yep. What? What was that? Huge.
Shikigami feeling the hurt of that last round, having to use every ultimate. They only have that Groot ult.
Huge Star-Lord ult. Huge.
Over the top. I mean, that Galactic Legend. When you don't have a Meteor M to counter it, you are in real trouble. Doom shows exactly why. Shikigami, now this is the hard part, right? Making it out of the choke points. Doomed. He's got that constant buff up from the Luna Snow. He's going to be getting all these shields from the Magneto. Tons of resources being poured into the Star-Lord. Doomed needs to deliver.
We saw that earlier. Dongmin throwing a lot of those bulwarks on that Star-Lord. Let him play a bit more aggressive. We're seeing it right now as the Blaster Barrage came in.
Almost went a little too deep.
Make something happen with this Kraken impact. It will be unassisted by a
very good pick. I don't know what the hell is doing there.
About how best to use that ultimate. Scattergang looks like he might be out of position here, but of course
they definitely called out the Hella flanking. They all turned for her. That's really good. That eye was
but it was only one
Not
player
good.
caught by that.
Very not
And
good.
naturally, there's enough healing for this triple strategist composition for Shroud X
Jeez.
to hold them off.
That was not a good eye of Agamotto.
One step too far.
And because of that, we lose so many ults.
Crazy Man also falling, and Shikigami might be starting to struggle, Jake, with this triple healer look.
They definitely are. Shroud X played that fantastically well. Great recognition.
I love playing Hawkeye, but no one ever has faith in the Hawkeye players. It's so sad.
They immediately turn back from the choke point, force her down, and even with the Kraken impact, it's just not enough because you don't have the Hela, you don't have the follow-up to get those executions. Now, this should just be textbook for Shroud X. Shikigami on some desperation picks.
They should be able to just get the point, and we'll be going to the next map.
They need to win this last fight.
Meter him here for Dongmin. Than anything else, just in case the Lambo gets scratched. Shroud X comfortable. Here they come. Impunity. Strangling prison. Vision does fall, but the damage surely already done as Dooms is now able to run.
Good res at least.
Shikigami. Cheeky freeze there. Credit to Dinks to try and keep the dream
Nice.
alive. There's not a whole lot
Nice.
they can do with Shroud X, but
Nice.
they shut out to claim Hell's Heaven.
Really well played on the team synergy from Shroud X. When they play that comp, that's the
W?
difference you need to have, right? When it gets to an open air,
They took a
extended duel,
took a
right?
map.
The Hela, the
Go.
Winter Soldier, they're probably going to have the edge, even as good as Adam Warlock can be. However, when you fight as that death ball, you pump resources into Star-Lord, he can really produce for you. So Shroud X doubling down, going back to the composition that worked for them previously, and looking impressive now, coming into a 1-1 series. Very curious to see
30K.
where Shikigami are going to take us next.
Absolutely,
bad.
because you're probably looking towards a map where it's a little bit
The
harder
storm pick.
to,
Oh,
I guess, abuse the triple strategist.
Chris said we're about to lose. Good time to go storm.
Or like better perches for Hela, but
You're dropping the
honestly,
storm
like,
win rate. How
Shroud X
dare
is
you?
banning this Wolverine. The one duelist that I think can really defeat this triple strategist because their proximity is so crucial for these like heavy healing based comps, and you can deny that, right? You can carve someone out of formation and blow them up. So Shikigami have to beat this triple healer setup pocket without Wolverine. They're not going to get it this series.
That was fun to watch. Well done, Shroud X, tying things up at one.
Oh, this is a
piece, and
best of
Jake,
3?
Towards the end, they looked like they were in total control.
I thought,
I
this was a best of 5.
I was most
Oops.
curious though about the walk-ups. If they're running triple support, are they supposed to walk onto point freely? And if so, what am I supposed to do on the defensive
Puckett.
end, knowing I have the advantage with the
Okay,
damage?
I haven't heard that name forever.
I mean, a lot of it
Holy.
comes down to the duelist.
Pretty sure you used to cast Call of Duty. You're like,
You have Hela, you have Winter Soldier.
yeah,
both of them
MLG
are gonna be
Puckett
looking on the
did
offense,
cast Call
trying
of
to
Duty.
find
I remember him.
opportunities. When it comes to that
It's crazy.
matchup, I think it's a lot about your confidence in your duelist. Like if your duelist
I'm surprised all these people are
back-to-back
still
headshots,
casting.
You just get a kill out of nowhere. That's not really something that
It's
the
kinda
triple strategist
insane.
comp looks to do. Theoretically, Adam Warlock can, but it's going to be pretty rare, much more common for Hela and Winter Soldier to provide those opportunities. That being said, if you can just hold off with the triple strategist, if you just mark those flankers, don't die to them, you get to the point where it's time to fight as a unit, it's time to fight on the objective. That's where you have the clear edge. And just as Shikigami are gonna have to answer this without a Wolverine based on Shroud X consistently banning it out. You can always just throw a ban at the Adam Warlock. Shikigami are ultimately making the choice that they'd rather face this triple strategist look than something like a Loki. So I'm curious to see, do Shikigami elect to change that strategy now that they've lost a map? The triple support looked pretty solid. You could take us to a map where it's less effective, or you could just change up the bans. I think both are very viable options as we move into the map 3.
If you're just joining us, this is a rematch from the MRI. Now we get to see it for an opportunity to play 100 Thieves. This is our NA Challenger matchup. Uber, great stuff so far. Let's take a look back at some of the big moves that Hela is putting
nice
on
shots.
some highlights, but they weren't the only ones. As the game went on, the Vanguards became more and more important.
I honestly think that Dongmin, as like a Magneto player, is really having an outsized impact on this game, and really is someone I want to watch. He's getting a lot of value out of each of these Meteor M's, which are really important against like any healer comp, especially if you're dealing with like a Lunar Snow ultimate, or you need to get burst damage, right? I really think that the game is ruled by teams that either have like the oppressive healing throughput, the invulnerability frames like Loki can provide, or of course that burst damage. And I'm really impressed with what I've seen from him so far, just like a standout player. And crucially, Jake was pointing this out, constantly furnishing Doomed with plenty of these bulwarks to make sure that an adequate amount of resources are being pumped into that Star-Lord to let him take over the game. He's getting Cocooned Revival from the team up, right? Which is ridiculous. He's getting a lot of those bulwarks. He's getting a ton of healing basically being thrown into him. Soul Bonds when required. That's exactly what you need to do, because Star-Lord can be Feast of Famine. You really only get out of that pick what you put into him. And so far, Shroud X are making generational investments in getting that Star-Lord off the ground.
Doom, the only player in the lobby to break 30,000 damage. Ridiculous performance from the sky. Here's a small example of the impact once you get legendary. Jake, moving forward, do we start targeting
Nice.
Adam? And is that enough to get rid of a Starhorn from Doomed in the future?
Yeah, I think, we've seen different teams take different approaches, Puckett, on that front. Some teams have just said, you know what, if I just ban the Adam Warlock team up, I'm not that worried about the Star-Lord as an individual.
Hopefully we get
without those
Convoy or
Adam Warlock
Convergence,
links,
something
without the
better than
Resurrect, maybe it's just not going to be that consistent.
Koth.
Other teams, though, have just said, you know what, we're going to get rid of the Star-Lord. It is, I think, one of the strongest team-ups in Marvel Rivals right now, so a lot of teams surely have thought about it and considered, if we do need to ban that team up, what are we going to do? That being said, Shikigami, they know all this. Like, they're a strong team. They've intentionally let through the triple strategist. They felt like they could beat it in map 1. They were right. Map 2 went against them here. Now going to Shin Shibuya. Good map for Star-Lord.
Shin Shibuya
Nice.
is going to be a fun one. We haven't seen Venoms yet. Maybe those will be brought out. We saw it
Shin
in the preview
Shibuya, let's
series.
go. Finally.
Is there something in particular you want to see on this map, Uber? And
I like
do you
this map. This is
expect
a
more
this is
Hello
a
Player
very good
additions?
map in my opinion.
It's definitely possible. I don't know if like Hela really gets looked at here, but you can probably expect to see a shift more over towards like Doctor Strange and Venom in terms of those tank lines, just because you need a portal on the attack side. You have to Strange portal in behind. I just don't think it's reasonable to try and walk up on the choke in this map. You're too unfavored there, and the Venom is really important because you can traverse this high and low ground and catch people out. Remember, denying proximity from these healers is the name of the game. It's what you want to do. Venom can do it, not as well as Wolverine, but can still have an
Okay,
impact and
is
force
this
people to move
ban
with that
same bans
same
again?
corrosion.
On
All right, we're
Shin,
gonna do the same exact
banning
bans
Rocket
and
on
protects
Shin.
every single game. This is gonna be the group
Tucker
protect.
sounds
They want to get
thrilled.
rid of the Rocket. Luna's gonna get protected, and then the Namor is gonna get banned.
Okay.
Pretty exciting stuff. So here's the real question, Jake. Are we seeing the triple strategist?
The
out of
Venom
gate?
save,
Is it
okay.
from the game? Venom's in the
Thanks, Venom.
building.
Protect.
I'm gonna shut up. You guys take it away.
Yo, I'm gonna call this map Shin Shibuya, baby.
And they banned the
It's a
Atom,
little bit different, I'm
so
saying.
they're forced to not play the
I
res
like the
comp.
Venom. I think honestly, there's a lot of skill expression in
But they
that
ban
game,
Rocket
despite it not
still.
having, like, huge
Poor
burst
guy.
output, and the Adam Warlock is
I
banned.
like this though.
Now Star-Lord is gonna stay dead when you shoot him in the head.
Maybe we
That's
get
what
the
we'd like to see.
Spider-Man Venom.
Yeah, I think this
Probably
is
not.
a great bans from Shikigami. I think I'm curious to see how they integrate.
I like
Venom
the
into
Atom
style.
ban,
Some
so they
teams have
can't play
chosen
res
to
comp
run
anymore. So you
an
probably just play
aggressive flanking
Bucky,
duelist
Hella, Mirror.
alongside the Venom to benefit from his
I
ability to
assume.
get on top of backlines and pick off strategists. However, other teams, play it more of a poke-based style and use the Venom as a distraction. That would certainly fit with the duelist picks from Shikigami in the last couple maps. I think, the sky's the limit right now. With the
I
new
like that
ban look,
change.
I think both of these teams had the opportunity.
Like I
to
said, watching
show
res
their
comp
strategic
over
depth.
and over and over and over
Jake,
again.
I just saw a
It's
question.
annoying.
With Venom, is Psylocke the ideal duelist to pair with them?
I think it's a great option. It's interesting. We don't see so much Psylocke anymore in top level Marvel Rivals. However, I do think
Oh,
there is a lot of
Namor's
skill
open.
expression on the character. Imagine locking it in for now. I
Wait.
think there's always an opportunity. It's a different way to approach the game than a lot of teams have focused mostly
That what we're
on
playing?
the front to back poking style, on key burst combos, and it is going to be Namor.
He goes Scarlet to give the
dive for Crazy Man. He's going to be
the
up against
team
one
up?
of the better anti-dive setups
Are we
you can
playing-
run in the
this
game
is what
right
we're
now.
playing.
I think, especially
No.
with Doomed over.
He is
Aldo
giving
Winter
the
Soldier as
pass
well, there's a
or the
lot
team
of
up ability.
disruption for these flankers and
We're
dive
actually
pushing
playing-
They're going to have their work cut out for them.
I think that walking into the choke
Ooh.
as well against this Namor setup is scary.
Oh, he's
especially
1
if you
HP
get
already.
position And kind of defeat the high ground advantage that you inherently
The
get as
Magik
defensive and you can
Psylocke.
bloody
This
abuse.
hasn't
Seems
been
we
shown
kinda wanna
yet
be, but
before.
you notice Crazy Man on the other side of that building there? Yeah, he's just popped above the roof. So looking for a way to
That's
get in. In
nice.
comes
That's
the
actually a
dive.
really
He's
nice
not
setup.
being jumped upon. He tries to cocoon himself now and has to give that high
Vision
ground.
almost
He will
got
drop
one-shotted
him. Try
because
to
of
get you in
that.
some form of position,
My God, the
but
Venom
he will never be
go
free to
crazy.
keep free fire from this position while Crazy Man is on the map. He will
Ooh.
constantly be putting pressure on him.
Yep.
A bit of
There's
an
no
inauspicious
more.
start here, I think, for the Magik pick, but we do see the Psylocke for Amadian here. So Shikigami
Good dive.
playing that full dive setup as
He
well.
should have gotten the
Even
right
with
click
Mantis,
though
and they're
before
not
he
trying
dived
to
onto
use
the
that
invis, so you
Guardian
could see him
team
invis.
up that they are looking for a full dive setup.
And the Psylocke
Yeah,
goes
Shredder
down
is
to the
their
Bucky.
strategist right now. Fidelity
I think
doing
it's
a
time to
fantastic
swap.
job of just being
I think we have to
evasive, but
swap
you're not
Psylocke
seeing
Magic.
on the
I don't think
Venom's
it's gonna
range,
work
which means they're
into
doing exactly what they need
double
to do, just
counters.
make space, make time. Shikigami, they don't have time on their side with this offense. They need to find explosive moves. They need to
Yeah,
create
swap the
picks.
Bucky.
Shroud
Smart
X, if
idea.
they're just 6-on-6 for an extended engagement. This Shroud X comp is
No
gonna
reason
win
to stay on
99
to
times out of 100.
stay on
It's an
Magic into
extremely
Namor
favorable
Bucky.
damage trade. Shikigami, they need to find instant burst kills. If they're not finding
I
that,
mean, we have double
fights are
support
gonna be
ults, so we could probably
That's
push in,
tough to
so it's
get
no
them.
big
I mean,
deal.
Namor has an ability that purposely defeats that. You know, you can't get burst kills on him. That's the whole point. And of course, remember, he's benefiting from the team up with Lunar Snow, so there's Monstro spawn. You get an extra one, and it slows you down.
Good
which is
dive, right
amazing
click.
against this kind of dive comp. Here comes Crazy Man, but doesn't have the damage on his own actually to work his way through the
That-
backline.
yeah,
The Doom
that's
has to
so
take him
free.
down, and Scatter Genki gets involved. Amadian was able to wrap around here
When you're
with his
playing
Psylocke down and
strategists,
for an invisible woman
you
after
never
that.
want to get
Jump
caught
up
with your
the
other
start of
strategists
there.
in a
Shikigami's
super confined
dive
room. They're
finally
stuck in
pays
here.
off. They play the
Rest of your
risky
team is
contract
dying.
and get
You
the
have to
burst that
heal
we're
each
looking
other.
for.
Doom's
This is
going for the
unlucky.
Strange portal. They still have strategist ultimate. Shroud X are
That's
not
good,
giving up
though.
on this yet. Immediate
The
strategists
TP.
into the fight. They're gonna gamble on first point.
Okay,
God,
Venom
I
as well
hate-
here. Low. We're gonna drop out into the. Oh, buddy! Oh, that was so nice from Days. Vision was gonna use the Horde of Proteus. The
I
second
hate
got
2P
out of the
with the
water,
passion.
is taken down by a crack shot from Rosterstern. Okay, here comes the Kraken
What
impact
the
here, but
heck?
Days gonna try and juke with that portal by the looks of things and jumps in. There's that Horde of Proteus. No,
I mean-
Vision not able to find connect here, but Shikigami are running out of gas. The portal play for Shroud X despite
They
losing
recovered
them
somehow.
already.
Kind of.
Might hurt them.
Maybe.
Genki desperately being topped up now, but Shroud X are looking towards their backline, and they're
Psylocke
shoring it
ult?
up.
No defensive
Desmond
ults?
gonna be committed to the fight now by Amadian, but there's not quite enough damage
Not enough
here.
damage.
Still can't quite cut through the healing of Shroud X. Doom
I
forced
hate
up
Portal
to
with
the
a passion,
bottom
man.
of Doctor Strange. That's a big opening. Dace now, the
Just
only
portal
shield
back
on
and
the
you
map,
just
and
contest
it's
forever.
a little low. Needs to keep an eye out
What is
here. I think
happening on my
Crazy Man is
screen
gonna
right now?
continue to move, but a soul resurgence for Shikigami means they have the durability now
This-
to throw caution to the wind. An invisible barrier has been
Jeez.
thrown up here by Nocto, and Ricky gets taken down. That's the Lunar Snow out of the mix. It's only
Stall
a Mantis
battle.
for Shikigami to work with. Of course, there's an abyssal feast here for Crazy Man, but
They actually recovered that.
Heartbreaker, Jake.
Jeez.
And change,
Yo, thank you for the sub,
95%,
appreciate it,
but
bro.
no cigar for the attack.
I can't believe they recovered that. That's insane. Because of one teleport.
Doctor Strange, that was his role in that moment, so it's something that these
I
top
hate
Marvel
Doctor
writers
Strange
have always
teleport with a
been
passion.
mindful of the
Oh
opportunity
my
to come
god,
back
that's
in,
so
and
annoying.
Shikigami, they won that fight because they had done so little damage in the previous fights that they just got like much
Ooh.
faster support ultimate tempo. Great freeze, canceled that Doctor Strange ultimate from Doomed. Now though, Shikigami have another chance with some good ultimates. Vision already low, has to force that bubble. And back
Okay,
off the high
take
ground.
2. Big mag ult?
Safety, though, blessing
Probably
the
not.
lead, so it allows him to at least have safe passage
Why
to
are we
the
just-
ground. Yeah, Impunity
That was a
there,
terrible
one time
mag
maybe
ult.
towards the right,
Oh.
a little bit dangerous, but there's the combo. Vision drops the whale on them. Horde of Proteus guarantees 2 important
I don't get why we're
KOs,
mag
and
ulting
Dominant
there.
cleans off the last remaining strategist
The
on
mag
side
ult
of
doesn't make sense
Shikigami.
there.
The dull edge of Shikigami
Maybe you're trying to help
finally
to
broken
push
here.
through the
Shroud
choke with the
able
mag
to
ult,
withstand
but
them. Sad not to see the
should just
full
save
dive
for
work out,
strategist
but that's
ultimate.
Rivals for you.
That's a challenge. I mean, we've seen teams succeed with full dive in the past, but honestly, I don't often see it work against the Luna Snow Namor. I think that combo is so good at dealing with divers. You know, if you're
Nice,
Psylocke, as good as you
nice.
are at finding burst kills, if you're constantly just clearing up the monstro spawns from Namor, it is painful, it is annoying, it is difficult. Same for Venom. You want to be single targeting down real players, not just turrets. And you don't really get that opportunity the way Shroud X are playing. So fantastic job, not only in the oppressive defensive setup, but
Pretty good,
also
though.
that critical retake.
Why are we still-
I want to give credit to the
Why are we
Invisible Woman
still
there,
playing
building up,
Psylocke
incredibly fast
and
invisible
Magik? We know
barrier
they're
to make
playing
that hole
Winter
possible. He was
Soldier,
charging up, popped it
no more
instantly,
combo.
100%.
There's no
That's
reason
what
why
saved
you're
the
playing
fight for
that.
Shroud X,
Yeah,
but allowed
swap.
them to make the
Good.
full hole.
Good job.
And also, I think like just great application of force physics, right? The knockback there was really important when you're dealing
I don't
with
think the
dive
Psylocke's a
comp.
good pick here.
It's not fun to play Venom, I think, in that scenario where you have the slowing monstro spawn, you know, able just to sort of, you know.
I also
make it
don't
harder for
think the
each
Venom's a
threat
good
of being
play either.
frozen by the Lunar Snow. And then, of course, you know, just in general being knocked
Because you
around by
have
invisible
Namor,
woman.
Luna,
Tough for
and
Shikigami.
Winter Soldier, and
Take a
Groot,
gamble.
honestly.
It doesn't pay off. Remember, this is their map selection. They really felt, Jake, that the dive comp would get them a lot of mileage here.
It doesn't make
Now, we're
sense
gonna
to
see
play
Spike
those
flick, and it
into
looks
Namor.
like Shikigami still want to play this Psylocke, this dive style on defense. Again, I guess they've got access inherently to good high ground. That's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, they might feel a little bit better about the dive. However, I think they're giving up one of the biggest advantages of defense, which is the ability to aggressively spam attackers as they walk up. Shroud X isn't going to have as much to worry about. They are going to have to deal with the potential threat of being picked off, but Psylocke already shows herself looking to just hit tanks and limits what this front line can do. I think Shroud X, though, are going to get the move they look for.
Get a one shot maybe?
The back line.
No.
Okay, trying to combo here, of course, with the
Eesh.
dive in of that Venom.
Unlucky.
Crazy Man has to extract himself there, and they do. They're healthy enough. They're going to be climbing.
That was
over
not a
the
good
Mason.
dive.
Dace, of course, he can
Unfortunately,
drop
no
down
value
and
out of the
himself back up,
dive.
so pretty easy to get reset up. And,
And the
okay, so
Venom
right click, it doesn't
popped
quite
E,
connect here.
doesn't
The
have
monster
shift,
spawn
got
don't quite
pushed, and
show
he's
the
down.
their intended target.
Yep.
Crazy Man
GG.
gets off here. Shikigami, this could be a pretty quick map if this defense doesn't hold, and they've already lost 2. This is bad news bears for the defenders.
That's GG.
Doom seems completely unperturbed.
I don't like the Venom pick.
Unbothered, staying in his lane, which is right up the nostrils of the defenders apparently. And now
Swap to Strange, get the T-Play. K-Pay. T-Pay. Here comes the stall. He died to the push. Really good pushback. That's funny. Bro died to the invis push.
Nuck was so ready on Shroud X. That portal came up and Daze just got instantly smoked through the portal. You can shoot through it, we can do it too.
Good job.
Shroud X up 2-1 in the series, and I said they had to do it at some point. Win on Shikigami's map pick. They did more than that. They just styled on them on Shinshibuya. I mean, this is a dominant victory for Shroud
Solid,
X.
solid.
Sets the record straight from the last time Shikigami won 3-1 in that Marvel Rivals tournament.
All right, Nuck, your paycheck's in the mail, mate. There's some great marketing, of course, for our friends over at Netty with the selection of that highlight intro. But I mean, have a look here. A pretty, I think, definitive seeing vision. You know, with over 10k damage done for what was a pretty short map, and we kind of talked about it, right? I don't think you get any more, and I'm using air quotes here, full dive than that composition that we saw from Shikigami.
Very good job by the gang.
Following the Venom in and making sure you.
WW, 5-minute break. 5 minutes. Ooh, 100 Thieves play. Ooh. Okay, we back. I also took a rinse it back. The production is actually crazy good compared to MRI. Kinda insane. Wait, he walked? Oh no. Bro walked off the map? I didn't even notice that. That's so sad. They showed it 3 times on stream? No way. Let me show you the new skins, I guess, coming out. We got this Hawkeye skin. Pretty solid. I'm definitely buying it. Thor skin. Venom skin coming tomorrow. Is it going to be a $2 bundle? Moonknight skin, and then we're getting the Black Panther skin. What is happening here? No one saw that. Oh, okay, I'm no longer scrolling on Twitter on stream. I'm gonna get banned, bro. Almost got banned. Note to self, do not scroll on Twitter on stream.
We're going into a game forward, symbiotic surface.
Going
and we
symbiotic?
learned from OG Esports. Don't run a Jeff thinking you can spit people off the map. There's walls all over this sucker, Jake. What are we expecting? I bet we'll probably see the same exact ban and protects 4 more times.
Well, I mean, it was a change up from last map. I wonder if Shikigami want to run it back or the dive, or if they're going to.
We're just doing identical bans again.
Made the first 2 maps so incredibly
Ay,
competitive.
ay, ay.
Taking the mirror on
Oh,
the
the rocket save!
And they're gonna
Visions is not playing
That ruins Shroud. And the Atom ban.
The rocket to get it through. That's crazy. I mean, is this going to be? I wonder if you ever run both the Punisher and the Winter Soldier to get like the double team up.
Ban that?
I think that like seeing the rocket protect, I think Shroud probably like could have aimed a ban at like a Winter Soldier or Punisher here, because I think you might want both. Obviously, this map, Aegis of Path, like you have a good setup for like Punisher turret. I feel like it's a little telegraphed and maybe breakable pocket. So I'm not sorry.
Feels like a gold strat to me, Mitch.
So, yeah, even more so. This is the kind of map where you can play that, but with these chokes, I do think that Winter Soldier getting in.
It's
there
an interesting
pretty
pick ban.
crazy.
But they are playing on symbiotic, so we'll see how it goes.
I'm just a little. I'm not sure about it. Maybe Shikigami.
This is convergence, right?
They can get the win here on
This
symbiotic
isn't
surface.
Koth?
Maybe I'll have to eat my words. I'm worried though that just like Hella straight up, no team ups, just do your thing on Hella is like more powerful, more threatening than even.
It is
Rocket
convergence
team
good.
Up. But maybe I'm wrong. Hold up. Both teams gonna run the rocket. Okay, maybe this team up's broken.
Huh.
People are finally understanding Rocket is good.
Rocket can give you a lot.
Yes.
I do think that, you know, you are using
Rocket
a
is so good.
strategist-
Bro, that's crazy.
You're using a strategist.
That's crazy.
Ultimate is obviously not geared towards healing, right? It just gives you a damage.
Just showed it
less
again.
Powerful, perhaps, but again, we
They
know
double
it can
dipped.
offer you the ability, of course, to 3D print when your teammates get back.
That's
in the game.
insane.
It can be helpful. Let's see just how powerful this rocket look is.
Rocket does also, like, not from the ultimate, but just in general, pumps crazy heals with just like the regular heals being AoE. So you know, it's
Rocket's
not
so
as
good.
ultimate, but
Like,
your
honestly.
consistent healing throughput is incredibly high on stacked up.
Also,
allies.
when Rocket,
Shikigami's
when
here,
Groot
they
has a
work
jump
here
pack,
on the side.
that
Both
is
teams
essentially his
having the
escape.
same look here
his
on the
safety
map,
net.
both believing in, you know, the duelist and
Oh, just
strategy,
his,
one-to-one
it's a
team-ups,
mirror
and of
match,
course, that
okay.
Vanguard
Ooh,
front
good
line.
sleep, or is freeze.
Okay, Amani in there, frozen up briefly. Shroud just giving the point up as a with the exception of their vanguards, of course, and we'll stay there and try and
Burn the
hold it
walls,
down.
good.
Here it is, the Z-Pack going to be popped now. As, excuse me, both of our Winter Soldiers can just go.
Burn the
for
walls,
with
burn the
Ross
walls,
to
nice.
here. They'll mix some abilities in if they have to, but
Stop
generally
shooting the
the
mag
output
and with
you
the
can
bubble,
amass here
please.
is pretty darn impressive.
Oh,
Advantage
nice.
also throw it out, and then too much damage
There's
for damage.
the jump pack I talked about. He's out.
Groot goes to the skybox with the Hatemaker uppercut from Dune. Don't know what happened just there, but Shikigami down one, backing a little, but not fully giving up the position. Median getting flanked now, maybe in a little bit of trouble. Vision, though, doesn't want to take a risk on this defense.
See, like, they got a pick, but it doesn't matter because they had the rocket res, so they're just back to 6v6. We get the Luna ult, though. Because we Bucky, Groot ulted, but we Luna ulted, so we countered that. Now we're mag ulting, and we missed. That's not good. Oh my god, what is... Oh, nice pick. Very good pick. Down 2.
Yeah, and Rocket has to heal overtime right now. 2 players down. Shroud X
Great pick.
sweeping forward on the map. They want to get these stagger kills. They want to clean up everybody. They are going to find Daze on the way out. That's an important pickoff now. Comes very
That was a
late into the
really,
fight, and
really good pick on Groot.
Clock's starting to run low here. Now
They're
2
still
minutes
staggered too.
Okay.
2 minutes. I mean, Convergence is probably the hardest map or game mode to push in this game. Getting the first point is a nightmare. That shift was a little early.
And get back to safety. Doomed also trying to play from the high ground. Jake scouting surely wants to line up a big
Good mag ults. I would have liked him to save it for...
See if he can find the elimination.
I mean, they got one, but he gets rezzed here.
Couldn't get in, is going to get 3D printed back into the engagement. Shroud X loses their Magneto as well. So
Do you have any interest in doing coaching form of classes?
Now Vision though wants to find the opportunity, maybe with the damage amp.
I've thought about it. I'd be open.
There, I think from the Horn of Proteus,
Definitely be open about it.
He's forced to drop down behind some of these walls. Impunity falls yet again. Not a good look here for ShroudX on defense. Nuck, of course, has the damage boost of the CYA, but it doesn't really help. It doesn't make the difference, I think, for ShroudX.
We messed up our Luna Immortals.
The Shikigami and the Symbiote are off to the races.
Well, Ducks. I mean, I have a series on my YouTube masterclass, but like an actual paid service, maybe. I've never. It'd definitely be cool, but I haven't thought that far into it. I'd be open.
That's kind of why Rocket Raccoon is powerful. I don't know about broken, but I can see why ShroudX Jake feel like they'd like to go for it as well if it's going to be protected.
Yeah, maybe I see now the vision on this map with like a lot of these very long range situations. You can't necessarily force something super aggressive.
I think it'd be pretty cool to do.
Better range poke damage from that global damage amp on the rest of your team is just incredible.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's good enough. Less emphasis on the defense, on tanking through ultimates. More emphasis on just raw pressure on the opponents as they walk up.
Squids on the walls, that's good. Brute is not getting any heals. He should probably get res, yeah.
Duty is doomed. Just going to clear those monster spawns, and Crazy Man is going to be BRB back into the fight. Here comes the Kraken impact now, and Dave hits hard. 3 players affected by it.
Oh, that was a really good mag ult.
Couldn't survive the Meteor M. Bloody hell! It's the kitchen sink being thrown at them now as Daze gets the resets that comes in after, and Horn of Proteus connected. We're still getting resets now. Tonight is for Daze if you're a ShroudX fan. As Shikigami keep the push going.
Took everything in the bank to get it done, but they get through that critical choke point, and now ShroudX is on the retake. They've got the Vanguard ultimates nearly online, so there's a real recipe, I think, to make the hold at the end of this payload checkpoint. Shikigami, they don't want to let that happen. They want to find some explosive and early pickoffs. But as they take this high ground, it looks like they're not really going to be forcing the issue, giving ShroudX a little bit of time to regroup. Let's see what the defenders use with that space.
Likely, yeah,
We got our BRB back set up.
The kind of range that would allow them to do so. Maybe they're hoping Amadian can strike a mortal blow with some of this poke damage now, as they have an inherent, positional advantage.
Yeah, welcome to the next hardest choke to take on this map. Your early mag ult. That's an insane Meteor M. Nice.
That is a dirty Magneto ult, and Shikigami finally are brought to a halt.
Dogman, he's been so consistent on this Magneto, not only with the ultimates of finding a ton.
That's a really good mag ult.
Well, ShroudX are gonna lose Nuck, but it doesn't really matter. Should be easily back into the next team fight. Shikigami back to the
and they have combo ready with no defensive ults. There should be another team wipe.
46 seconds left in the round. Impunity might be looking for an early strangling prison here. Before Shikigami have a chance to react,
they're going around. That's a good idea.
Kraken impact. So this round could be over here now. Impunity opts to least to assume the high ground here and has the feeling that Shikigami are looking to wrap around. This might be though straight into a trap.
Epac just went flying. Oh, insane. Yeah, it's a wipe. It's a full wipey.
They went for it anyway. And there goes Shikigami now. Jake, they do not have enough time to have a proper crack at this.
I don't think they should have used those. Strange change? Yeah. Maybe.
I wonder though, ShroudX, have they pushed too far off the spawn?
Why are they pushing so far?
Okay, they've got to go through this TP if they can, but Daze.
What am I watching?
With the Doctor Strange, they can break through this shield, but now by the ice arts here, and things have gotten a little weird, folks. Here's the strangling prison came down.
Oh no! Why did we push?
Amadian gonna be able to find 3 kills in this fight, and Shikigami him give it a new lease on life.
Why did they push?
The back 9 of the map.
Oh, that's massive. They're able to break it open in the final seconds. That's strange TP. Once again, Shikigami.
That's insane. There's no way we're pushing there.
It makes the difference. They get the execution they were looking for. And getting to this final point on symbiotic surface is already, I think, a win for the attackers.
That was...
They really need to get the hold here. A full cap is a rare thing.
That was bad. I don't know. I can't say anything nice, but that was bad. That's like a yellow card. What is that? What?
It's a decent amount of time, and Shikigami have got to be pretty quick about it. This is where Rocket Raccoon's healing can be a little bit hard to consume.
The mag ults, that should be through,
in these hallways, But that's what Shikigami were looking for.
And it's
Meteor M
Snowball.
Impunity, and Dongmin will be brought back into the fight, but Doomed had already been on the way out. So now can only
The Rockets is trying to. Oh my god, it's Rocket Civil War. He's trying to stall for some time, I guess.
Dongmin has to do the same.
Yeah.
Buy time.
Buy early so you can regroup fast.
Get back into the fight because
What we're trying to do here.
Including another CYA, that 40% damage.
That was so bad, what I just saw.
It's nice.
I can't get over it.
They're gonna have to get it done with just that. They're gonna have as well the Doctor Strange.
That was very bad.
But we've seen teams get so good at denying the value. And hold on, they just instantly burst him down. He is gonna get rezzed by the BRB, but he's gonna be out of position now. Shroud X sweeping forward with ultimate.
I don't like the push there at all.
End this attack in its tracks.
They're setting up here, Crazy Man with the walls, days.
That push could have been good.
Not much you can do. This triple Vanguard setup from Shikigami might be running out of gas here. Doom tries to push
Good
forward
reset.
until he's finished
The
the
push
job.
could have been good.
Can make use of the mobility off
The second you see they swap to Doctor Strange, you have to run back. I don't think you push whatsoever.
In their tracks, but Jake, I feel like they got a lot more than Shroud X bargained for.
It's a great hold from Shroud X there at the end. They get it done with a nice final team fight. However, Shikigami, I think they're going to be feeling pretty good. I mean, there's a couple moments where it felt like they were going to get held on first, maybe getting held at the end of second, and both times they overcame that. So I think on the defense, Shikigami have a very real shot to extend this series to a decisive Game 5.
The runner back here, so much hinges, I think, on how effective this first point defense can be.
It was such an interesting play. I
I
mean,
mean,
it
Doctor Strange until that last desperate fight to get into the.
was definitely a high risk, high reward type of play if the push there, but
For attackers here on Symbiotic Surface,
might have been too far.
decent flank routes onto the point as it is that can allow you to sort of get there. You can see here Doomed putting
Doomed
out
is playing
20K
good.
damage here, which is pretty absurd in the context of what we've seen in the lobby. Thinks also really benefiting from being on that attack side that last round where the 22k heal put down. Pretty nice to see.
Yeah, that defending Winter Soldier is so potent. Look at that, 55% accuracy for Doomed. He is kind of smoking the competition when it comes to the Winter Soldier here.
That's
Let's
really
see if
good
they can
stats.
Keep that up on the offense. It's certainly a strength if they can find those opening picks. That's usually your best shot.
20
on
and
attack. If you
3
end up in these like extended
defense.
exchange
Really
trade
good.
engagements. It seems like the defenders usually get the better, especially with. I mean, this spawn is pretty
Good
far
group
away
wall
from the
placement
point guard
there.
attack on Symbiotic
I like
Surface, so
that.
losing a player or two can be really costly. There's always. the
That's
threat
actually a
of-
really good wall placement. I'm writing that one down.
Being put down by Doomed now, just as Jake pointed out.
The more top right,
Really good first round.
usual,
Top right,
typical
they were
position.
right now.
Yeah, big
Ooh.
names being put down. I mean, this is also without the ammo invention for.
They must know that Shroud X likes to go through this room a lot. Otherwise, he wouldn't be putting the wall there. He would have conditioned that. Like, there must have been like some type of scrim VOD on that.
The Z-Pack full committing on Doom, who's just laying in that damage. However,
Yep, focus the squids first. Smart. That's what you should be doing.
BRB. Hooks being traded here on the flank. Doom dropping low, being focus fired, and Daze wins the duel.
I tell you what, man,
Lucky.
Viacom really huge in moments like that to just pull a player out of formation and burst them down with a combo that you have access to. Now
They did get the res, so they're back up. They're kind of overextending here. That's why his Rocket is good. They pushed because they thought they had the advantage, then he got rezzed. Now they don't have a res in defense, which is pretty massive.
Huge pick from the Magneto. And now Shroud X are
You
fighting on the
have
point.
Meteor M,
Here comes
big
the
Meteor M.
CYA, big damage boost now, and that's a pretty scary combo with the Meteor
Wait, how did he
M.
take damage there?
Lets it go, but doesn't quite connect. Crazy Man goes
Nice.
low enough, though, and can be worked out
Both
once
things
his
gone,
strength
no
in
res.
prison was deployed in
Beautiful.
Purity. Had that one stashed away for a rainy day, and Shroud X here.
That Meteor was questionable.
Yeah, I don't know if Shikigami are going to have any shot at a retake here. Amadian not even electing to use
That
bonus,
whale
doesn't
and
even
Meteor
want
M
to
was not
delay his
needed.
own death. I think a good decision there, Shroud X. Get the cart rolling in much quicker time than Shikigami were able to on their offense. So Shroud X going to be feeling pretty good, going to be feeling the momentum.
I will say
That
Shroud
being said,
X's
momentum
like
is gonna be
mechanics are
challenging to maintain.
very
Shikigami
good,
have the bank of ultimates, they have
but
the edge
their
on this defense. Let's see how they play it
ult
out.
management is a little bit questionable.
Just want to win a fight with really positive
If I'm like the
outcome,
coach of Shroud X or the analyst, I say work on utility, work on ult management, and I think they'll be like a really good team.
in terms of their ultimate charges, as you can see.
I don't think I like that at all.
Does not fancy getting caught out
Oof.
by this Meteor.
Thanks.
Gallagher uses it really just
Good
to
try.
go with, just dangles it aggressively in the face of
Oh.
Shikigami. What a Proteus. It's dirty. Oh, buddy, that is
Root and the more combo.
buddy, able to find 3. Shroud X here. Need to pack
So
it up.
good.
I've been put in a body bag.
Not the end of the world for Shroud X, but they did deploy a couple key ultimates. Not Also, the fight they were
Be Luna ulted though, that's unlucky.
Higami, once again, they're gonna have the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, the Luna Snow Ultimate.
It's such a gamble when you get group ulted when they have no more group, because the whale just one-shots you if you're in the direct center of it, even if with Luna ult. He popped Luna ult because they were in Groot ult. It's like, oh, I can save it. Maybe Nomor doesn't have ult. And that's a raw Bucky ult. They get the reset? No. Meteor M? He didn't let it go.
Uncharacteristically goes for a hyper-aggressive Meteor M. That's something that maybe could have been saved for, another fight. Crazemang's going to be out of action for now. But of course, will be brought back with the BRB. The Shroud-X need to go for this here. They've got a Horn of Proteus.
I don't get the Meteor M pop there. That's a little...
With that Cruel Ultimate to guarantee a team fight win.
I don't know. That was
weird.
weird.
Work the cart up here. Dongmin keeping his focus on that high ground. They're laying down some suppressive fire on those duelists. Hook is blocked. Great awareness from Dongmin. We've seen how
Kill your group.
is with that tool impunity.
That's another combo.
Prison, but it comes in first from the defenders once again. Shikigami just clean house.
This is looking like a map 5, just based on momentum.
That is a fight that Shroud-X probably want to take. I think they realized at one point Impunity is getting too low in the front line. Too much damage coming his way. Dongmin tries to throw him a bulwark to keep him in the fight because of course that Gru ultimate needs to be there. And they don't want Impunity desperately, like, throwing it out there at a bit of a weird
At this point,
it hard for Vision to combo. So Shroud-X say, okay, guys, we're going to take another rail here. That's 3 lost fights in a row.
we might need to swap Rocket and go double defensive to push if we're struggling this much. Even though Rocket does really great healing, I think we're struggling too hard to push through. Good Groot ult, whale combo, no damage.
It's not enough, and that's huge for Shikigami.
That was their win condition. The silver bullet, but the Luna Snow ultimate denies so much of that. And
maybe we push through here.
Crazymang meant that so much of that damage was prevented. Hamadian's got an amazing vantage point here, and of course, more of those monster spawns being set up. On
another Bucky ult. For days. Ooh, good movement. They overextended. That's really good. What?
Unreal. Horn of Proteus are ready for Hamadian, but they get taken down. And so the X-Men can keep rolling.
Yeah, Winter Soldier went too deep there.
Just dropped the moves on Daze. Daze couldn't connect.
A very good hold though.
If he gets the reset on that initial
that choke is very good. Or very hard to push.
Again and again fights, but Fidel dances well.
Daze got his ult fast, which is good. We wall the left side, try to save time.
But look at Shikigami.
Figure Ironwood. Ironwood. Thorn Lash, yeah. Good. Nice. Good, great pick. Get rid of Doctor Strange. Magneto. Good whale. Pretty good whale. 1 value. Got the res back. Rocket OP. Beautiful. He TP?
Yeah, they just couldn't get into position, and I think notoriously this
we
point
TP?
is so difficult to recontest on Symbiotic Surface. It's why we see so many teams
if we TP, that's not good.
Very aggressive forward hold.
That's 150 cooldown. It's a global cooldown, so if say Shikigami gets wiped, we have 150 seconds on that portal. So if anybody swaps to Strange, they can't portal for the rest of the game.
Remember, minute 33. Very vulnerable here for Shroud-X. This is going to be a successful fight, and they're running into some of these key abilities right now. Meteor M on the horizon, as is Fidel's ultimate, but Martin's able to take them down. The monster spawns a little bit
It's
different.
res. It's res behind you. No, they destroyed the res. They found it. Nice. You have a Meteor M? Please don't pop it early. Pop it early. Nice. Fine. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Advance to the money match.
And it's a reversal of fortune here in the challenger match. Shroud-X, last time they faced Shikigami, it was them who fell 3-1.
Now they play the big dogs.
Same margin. They're going to go on to face 100 Thieves in that money match. Doomed. Big performance on the Winter Soldier. The double down on this.
Now they play the big dogs.
Rocket Raccoon and Trust.
100 Thieves.
Placed well. Over 31,000 damage dropped in that last round.
Oh my god, that is so filthy. We talked about it, just what the defensive side Winter Soldier can do. And
maintaining that 50 accuracy too.
A lot of those Strangling Thorns. There were multiple options, right, to combo with your Groot ultimate here. And both teams at times had struggled to deploy them properly. But Shroud X were patient. There was one fight, I think, where they lost their Magneto and they said, you know what? We have the ultimate combo here. Let's just lose our third fight in a row. Come back, be patient. We can still finish the map if we start to build up some momentum, build up a head of steam. And at times the chips fell in favor of Shroud X there because
100
Shikigami
Thieves match.
also
This
had
is
their
where the
combo
big
combo,
dogs
surf
play.
and turf pocket. They couldn't use it properly because they were forced to retake awkwardly through a choke. They constantly got blocked by these Groot walls.
Yeah, it felt like you were playing Tetris at the end of that game. That looked very frustrating at the end of point 2. Shikigami was in it. They had the lead in the series, and then Shroud X walks away with the W. Jake, I have a feeling this isn't the end of their appearances here on Rivals Fight Night, though. We'll see these teams again.
Yeah, Shikigami, I think they have a lot to be happy with today. Despite going down 3-1, it was very close. It was very competitive. It's always going to sting to have a reversal of fortune against a team that you have already beaten. But like you said, we're going to see more tournaments, more appearances for the Shikigami squad. And I think they have a lot to be excited about going ahead in the future in Marvel Rivals.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this game 4 and talk about what we saw from Shroud X, because they're just warming up, Uber. Now you get a chance to take on Nadeshot's 100 Thieves, the crew that came from Controller Overwatch, now dominating our hero shooter.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see this great stuff from Shroud X. And look, the fact that we get Nadeshot versus Shroud in our money match here just makes it just that little bit more sweeter. But
Nadeshot versus Shroud.
Kind of different styles, I think, from the Shroud X team, right? They started
That goes crazy.
Mirroring the Hela. That's when they started to find an edge. Then we went over, of course, to the Adam Warlock plus Star-Lord combination. That worked really well. They had a great anti-dive comp on Shin Shibuya. And then finally, we went over towards the Rocket Raccoon team up, where both teams had to get as much value as possible out of their Winter Soldiers respectively. I think, you know, Vision and Dooms, you just can't take anything away from these guys. The quality on the Shroud X team is kind of blowing my mind right now. There are some generally known names on the Shikigami team, some, known players here, quantities. Shroud X, they run away with this game. I'm really impressed. It looked like they were just unstoppable by the end of it.
Jake, I'll be honest, I missed a whole half of that game 4 because I was watching the chat argue it was a Rocket Raccoon main versus everyone else who plays support or a strategist role. And I feel like the Rocket Raccoon main is like, I told you, this is why we're in the game. This is why we exist, to enable Doomed to do what he just did.
I mean, we saw the BRB having a lot of impact in that game, the ultimate as well, like the damage amp. But I think you're right, critically, that Z-Pack. I mean, whenever we're on Doom's cam, when he's got infinite ammo, it just looks gross, man. He is chopping up Vanguards left, right, and center. Definitely a strength here that Shroud X can rely on going into this money match against 100 Thieves. That being said, this is still a bit of a David and Goliath matchup. I mean, Shroud X, they haven't reached this level before. They haven't reached this opportunity to challenge, I would say, definitively the best team in North America in 100 Thieves. Many teams have tried, many have fallen in, brutal fashion. And so I will say this is a tough one for them. Despite their success, despite the momentum, they've got a lot riding on this.
It's going to be a fun one. Good luck, everyone involved. My man, Tara, I've been watching his stream. Disgusting on Star-Lord. We got a little witness of what Doomed is bringing on the Star-Lord, but if it comes to the triple strategist comp, that kind of was an edge for Shroud X tonight, right, Jake?
Yeah, I think it's something that they could lean on. However, I think to beat 100 Thieves, it's going to be way beyond any one single composition. I think to beat the best teams in Marvel
100
right
Thieves,
now,
Nadeshot versus Shroud.
You need to be able to execute everything at the highest level. Even from the ban pick format, I think that Shroud X, they've been showed that they're a team that always bans Wolverine. Some teams have decided that that's the way they're going to approach the first ban. 100 Thieves is not that team. 100 Thieves has, from what I've seen, they don't hard block their first ban. They're always trying to attack whatever their opponent's strengths are and rely on their own flexibility, which gives them, I think, an innate advantage. If you're not ever willing to play Wolverine and you're always going to ban it, forever, that's something that another team could exploit. They know that, they have an expectation of that, and they can craft their strategies. Whereas a team like 100 Thieves that is just very hard to predict and is always punishing whatever their opponents rely on tends to have a bit of an edge strategically.
Well, we have some terrible news, guys. I was trying to load up the Venom twerk. It crashed our replay machine. So we are going to go to a break here. We're going to get those up and running. And we are going to have your MVP.
That's
your
insane.
Finalist as well. Shroud X moves on to play against 100 Thieves. I'm sorry. We tried to put ZP's face on the Venom booty. It just did not work. 100 Thieves taking on Shroud X just like we scripted it. Jake, does this one go to a game 5 for the first time tonight?
I would be impressed with Shroud X if they can force this to a game 5. I would love to see it. However, 100 Thieves.
I want to see
historically,
5
they have not
games,
shown
but
any mercy to those that have faced them in the challenger match. I'm just excited
unfortunately,
to see
I
top
think
dogs
100
and
Thieves
NA
just
can deliver.
runs them over.
Thank you all for tuning in. Do us a favor. Head on.
The whales have feet. The whales got feet, bro. That's. Alrighty. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. We're almost there.
Welcome to Rivals Fight Night Round 4, where Groots get weird, our Magnetos throw bubbles on your guy who flies through the air, auto locks on you, hits you with headshots, then a whale with feet.
Oh my god, the cat!
Slams you in the
Bro,
mouth.
the cat's
We got
going
Uber,
crazy.
We got Jake, and we got 100 Thieves taking on Shroud X. Honestly, I was kind of sad we didn't get an up-close look at the whale again, Uber, because when I saw that thing's got little flippers, I was like, is it like a whale that used to be a fetus? Is it like still evolving? Where was it?
I don't know. Namor has like wings on his feet as well. So like these guys are all like a little bit of a divergence on the evolutionary chain, of aquatic species and then, like humanoid ones. I wouldn't read too much into it. Also, it's the Marvel universe, so we've seen crazier things, I think, come out of that one. Like, have you seen the size of Thanos' chin? Like, that guy could function as a blacksmith's anvil in a pinch. You know what I'm saying? So,
can you imagine if he had like the Horn of Proteus fins on the end of his chin, though, Jake? All right, let's talk about this matchup. We got Shroud X, we got 100 Thieves, and Shroud X just made it through with a 3-1 revenge beatdown.
It'll be a hard match for Shroud.
To take a look at the lineup, though. The best team in NA. Terra has been my favorite duelist to watch in the last 3 weeks, but if you talk to the people in my Discord, everybody is watching Vinny. He plays Venom. His group may be the best on the planet. 100 Thieves have found something special in this team of 6, Jake.
Yeah, this squad is rock solid front to back. It seems like it doesn't matter what they play, what strategy they end up approaching. Like, they have insane flexibility across the roster. And I think that's what makes them so difficult to beat, is they're just a bit of a chameleon. They can be whatever they need to be to take on each opponent. I'm just curious to see what they've cooked up here for Shroud X. What's their read on the meta? It's always exciting to see the best team in the game work their magic and kind of show the rest of us how it's done.
TTK showcasing his Magneto, also pulled out the thing last time he was on Rivals Fight Night. We'll find out what compositions they bring to the table, and of course we got to find out what is our opening map, Uber, because it's always a domination. We like to give it a fair playing field to kick things off.
Yeah, I mean, again, we also saw like a domination map picked second in the previous series. It looks like teams are like really kind of preferring to go over there. Hell's Heaven, of course, and Throne Room also getting picked up a lot. I'm hyped for this 100 Thieves team. Back in like the MRC season 0, right? They were not probably like the top tier standout team. They were right up there, right? But it was like Sentinels initially that, maybe drew some more interest, and Nightmare were also among the mix here. But seeing what, this 100 Thieves team were able to do at the Marvel Rivals Invitational, and crucially 3-0ing Sentinels, handing them the fattest L in that upper bracket final.
Yeah.
This team has come an immeasurable distance, I think, since over the space of 1 month here. NA is changing really quickly. So a team like 100 Thieves Puckett, before we jump in and talk about our maps in just a second, they have to evolve that much faster. I think that is really going to be important for this team. But so far, they've impressed us. They're ahead of the curve. Now can they stay there?
And Jake, that's kind of what we were watching on Rivals Fight Night, was 100 Thieves versus Sentinels. Collusion Crew, known for their triple Vanguard. They're just going to roll you over. It was 100 Thieves and Vinny on the group that really started to give them issues. So I want to know, what do they feel is their best composition right now? Because they've shown us they can play it all.
I mean, typically, I think they've had the most success with the 2-2-2 setup with the 2 duelists. And as I say that, hold on, there may be something more important on the screen as I am looking at Puckett's cat. Pet the cat. Yeah. He's a good cat.
She's a stray. We got her at Christmas. She's awesome.
Oh. You know what? 100 Thieves, they're really good at the game. They're pretty good at Marvel Rivals.
It's funny, like it's taken all of the incisiveness out of Jake's analysis as he's just become soft as butter in the presence of this feline interloper.
Ladies, if you too would like to find yourself a Jake, all you need to do is get a cat. Bring it over. All right, let's take a look at what we got in front of us. Shout out to Nameless, one of my co-hosts and analysts on the Call of Duty League. He has been a regular in the chat and always watching Team 100 Thieves. Why does he hate Team Shroud X? I don't know. Take it to Twitter at Nameless and call him out. In the meantime, we know we're going to Hell's Heaven. What will we see in terms of comps? Will they allow a Hella through this time around, Jake?
Historically, 100 Thieves has like almost never banned the Hella that I've seen. I mean, they've got Delena on the squad. I think they're super confident in taking those heads-up duels. So, I don't see them, frankly, backing down from it, pretty much no matter how this series goes. That being said, I think they may have the edge in attacking some of the strategist picks from Shroud X. Maybe even something like the Groot. Shroud X has been really consistently protecting the Groot in the second phase. So there's a real window maybe for 100 Thieves to try to exploit that. Then again, you got Vinny on your team. Are you really going to ban the Groot? I think 100 Thieves are really free to approach the ban pick however they like. They got Tensa on the coach role. I think he's done a fantastic job for this.
If Shroud X can take a map, I will be impressed. Let's say.
Best analyst in the game. Why? He knows the coaching staff. Shout out Tenza. Uber, let's talk about excitement though. Give me some players to watch. If I'm looking for that kill feed to light up with one player's name, who are you looking at?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, if you want to look over towards Shroud X, I think Impunity is the kind of player that is looking to take Vinny on in the man-to-man, in the neutral, so to speak, in the Groot, a mirror. I think that's going to be really important. You see how crucial it is.
If Shroud X can take a map, I think they should be proud. Like, 100 Thieves is an amazing team.
The one, I think, strategist with the potential for outplay, for denying a lot of these like ultimates that require proximity or really careful positioning. In the past, it was Eye of Agamotto, but there's a ton of ways you can get use out of that force physics ability to push and pull people around the map.
Cat.
I'm hyped for this one. I really don't want to see a one-sided game. I want to see just how far this Shroud X team.
I hope it goes 5 maps.
But Jake makes a great
Do I?
point.
Kind of want to go to bed. I'm old man.
Any particular duelist, you can just like send 2 strategist bans at your opponents and make them squirm. I think the freedom that comes with being happy to take any mirror, anytime, means that you can really go to another level through that ban and protect face here. And that's something that I want to see 100 Thieves come up with something a little bit inventive as a result of that. They don't fear anything. How do they target the apparent weaknesses of this Shroud X team?
All right, we got a challenge for the coaching staff on both sides. Jake, you can go ahead and text them directly if you'd like. How about no dominations after map 1? No dumps. I want a long series. I want all 5 maps. Give me some convoy. Give me some convergence. Let's get a little more effort in these maps.
Your boy Gator is on the coaching staff of Shroud X Puckers, so just drop him a line, bro. You know, let him know. Maybe offer him some crypto as a bit of upside. And I think
Gator don't need no line from me. I'll tell you that. That was my Gator voice. Jake, don't worry about the words I used. Vinny's Groot is the difference, says the fox in a sweater. Bula Lol says, hi, Uber. That's the point of the show I'm at right now. Join the game, 100 Thieves.
Hi.
Join the lobby.
Get in here.
You have your own stream. I know you probably are arguing, well, we were up around before they disconnect. No, just play the game.
There might be urination maxing here. I think they might be trying to synchronize their streams a little bit. Maybe cross them a bit, just make sure they're, you know, they're really on their toes, so to speak. I'm okay with that, you know what I mean? But again, there's only so much yap that we can do. I'm gonna wait for these guys.
I hope 100 Thieves take a map. Or 100 Thieves. I hope Shroud X takes a map. Otherwise,
has been tweaked.
Unlucky.
So the Venom twerk is working, and more importantly, I'm told we have Shroud X highlights. Jake, let's take a look back. How did they get to this position? They had to go through Shikigami. This is our map number 4. What did they show you from Doomed and crew?
I'm glad we opened with a Doomed highlight because this was a map with the Rocket Raccoon team up on the Winter Soldier where Doomed really showed.
Did they show?
Do. You know, give LeBron the ball.
Did they show Bro fall off the map again?
Also with the Star-Lord, right? So Doomed able to run either of those duelists to great effect, getting a ton of resources, a ton of responsibility, but delivering when it counted.
They show the whiff?
On the Magneto, not a Jeff player.
Nah.
Not a Jeff.
Maybe you could play Jeff.
He was afraid to show it early in the tournament.
Showed him with the meatball.
Impunity looked pretty good. We didn't really call out Nuxter and Fidel enough, I felt like, for Team Shroud X, but the support ultimates, the strategists have been on point.
I don't know. I think Nuck is more glazed than the gun.
Did he use that TP there?
Definitely wanted to try and give him some time towards the end of the game. But I think, like, what is really important about that game, especially Symbiotic Surface Pocket, is that you can have the ultimate one-mode combo, but if you don't have like a good position to make use of them, like don't have good line of sight, you're getting stacked out, it doesn't really matter. That's the difference in Marvel Rivals. You can have 6 ultimates, you can still lose the fight if you can't make use of them effectively. If you die midway through, or you just whiff them, or can't quite get the timing going. And that's the exciting part of this game. We don't just read what team has more ultimates and then assume they're going to win a team. Okay, we do with casters, but
most of the time
it's not safe to assume that always, especially at this level. So teams are constantly trying to like deny their opponents from being able to get value from those very obvious wombo combos because they're tracking them over the course of the game. They're trying to, make sure they know when they're coming.
I didn't mean to, but I accidentally sent a army against the 100 Thieves crew. I don't know if they're not the ones in the lobby. I just wanted to blame one of the teams, and they're on the left side of the screen, so my brain said them first. It could be ShroudX that's not ready. Maybe one player has to take care of their parent and feed them food before they get into this grand finals match. You never know the player's situation, so have some grace, chat, and casters start the game, okay, Uber?
Yeah, well, I'm working on it. I got the big button in my head. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. As far as I'm concerned, it's 100 Thieves.
Oh,
not playing. There we go.
again.
This can get in the way of a good story. This is a good story.
This can get in the way.
Oh my God,
Yes! The reason we broke the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, was it worth it? If so, please drop a like, hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. And once again, this is Rivals Fight Night. We are desperate for your support and the players to get in the game.
More the latter, to be honest, but we definitely do appreciate it. If you're on one of the co-streams right now, we'd love it if you could give us a follow over at twitch.tv/Rivals Fight Night, because ShroudX might not be here every week, right? You want to come and see what we're doing.
It probably will, though.
Yeah,
Returning
Dude, the Turking emo is so good.
Just invite them back, even if they lose horribly.
It's so good. Oh my
If
God.
they're not, you can find us here, of course, every Thursday. Make it happen.
They got to put up though. They got to show that they've got the fight here to take it to 100 Thieves. I mean, not many teams have had that in NA. There's
So
been
good.
a couple sparks of it, right? FlyQuest had a close match against 100 Thieves, or at least decently close. Didn't fully push them to the limit, but
And I'm pretty sure that emote's going to be free.
Can ShroudX
They
do the
said.
same? I mean, they're an up-and-coming team. They're a relatively new roster. They have a high ceiling. I believe in these players as individuals.
We made
The
it.
question is, can they get it done as a team?
We made it to the game. Before we see them go ahead and ban Groot and Loki, let's go.
Logan is such a doomer. He's such a doomer in bands, bro. It's crazy.
Loki ban.
There's the Loki ban.
We want the Loki ban. We want that. We want that. Get that smart guy out of
Wolf
here.
ban, that's good.
Wolverine's gone. Go ahead, Uber.
Arrow.
Fuck, it's just like sinking
You save.
further into despair as he's easier. No,
Groot,
we'll get something
save
spicy.
Groot.
I know it. But the protect here for ShroudX still. I mean, I would. Do they? Protect him?
Ooh.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean,
Take the-
they might just not think 100 Thieves is ever going to ban Groot, and honestly, I wouldn't blame him. 100 Thieves has Vinny. Like, they're pretty confident to take the Groot mirror. Protection on the Winter Soldier. I don't know that either team is.
Ban Hella.
Both teams are kind of gearing up for
Ban
it.
Hella.
That's the way I look at these ban protects.
Ban
I don't think
Hella.
Either team is really trying
You
to
have
get
to
too
ban
crazy,
Hella.
too tricky.
Luna.
It's just confidence.
You have to ban the
No
Luna if you
rocket.
want to play dive. You have to ban the Luna here because the team up with Namor is far too strong. So I really like this. If 100 Thieves just like want to play something a bit more aggressive that maybe like does involve the Venom,
I don't like that.
making the Lunastone team up off
You
the-
left
off the
Hella
field is
open
really
for.
important.
Oh no.
It's going to be a fun one. This is the first in our best of 5. First to 3 wins, walks away with $1,000 and gets an
They left
invite
Hella
to
open
next
for 100
Thursday, where
Thieves.
we are live
Uh-oh.
every 4
That's
p.m.
not good.
Eastern with your best teams from Europe and then NA. Here we go. We got Uber and Jake on the mic. The greatest show on a Thursday night. I'm going to sit back and relax and pet my cat. See you later.
All right. Well, for those of us who are joining me for this run through Hell's Heaven, strap yourselves in, folks. We're in for 100 Thieves here.
There it
looking
is.
To have back-to-back victories and be crowned King of the Hill and our Marvel Rivals Fight Night for a second week running. ShroudX, though, are the plucky upstarts, the challengers here, and while they're
Delana.
3-1 win over
Delana,
with Jake,
sorry.
100 Thieves were a different
Hella.
beast entirely.
I'm
That's
curious
what
to
we
see
don't wanna
what
see.
strategist lineups we get here with a lot of strategy
Okay.
plans being thrown out. It's not. I mean,
Oh,
I think Invisible Woman
the
is
Jeff
a
split
pretty safe
screen?
bet, but whether there's a Mantis, maybe a Jeff. I mean, all right, the Jeff is a bait. There's no way I believe it. They might use the little speed amp out of spawn, but what do they really pick?
So we're going res comp
Okay,
into
so-
Hella Doom.
Okay. So ShroudX
Doom?
is-
Star-Lord
We're going
for Shroud X.
res comp into
Yeah,
Hella
yeah,
Bucky.
obviously really looking to lean into that one. Cloak and Dagger, of course, pretty impactful I do feel like
This is what we're scared about.
Ultimate, obviously not huge in terms of throughput, but definitely puts like that constant ticking damage down, which really matters. The blind is actually really important to shut down
Wall.
that Galactic Legend. Now, if you can hit it onto the start,
He's out of position.
Thieves already getting
Good
shoved
sleep.
a little bit now. As Shroud X want to take priority, but Fidel.
Yeah, that's what we're scared about.
He's all the way.
He's already flanking.
Taking free
Yeah.
on this Hella 100 Thieves are gonna strike.
That's why we banned the hell into 100
At
Thieves.
the same time, beautiful synergy across the map, and Shroud X are wiped from the board. 100 Thieves, decisive first fight.
Not the start they're looking for at all, Jake. I think you've really got to respect that Hella and look for her when possible.
Wait, Cloak and Dagger?
Setup, right? They're actually,
Oh, Luna's
if they're
banned, Loki.
going
Okay.
one of those duelists in favor of having this crazy healing throughput. But as we discussed, Hella is the one that can really defeat that and basically blow up a strategist in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, see if it works again though, right? Like that
Trying to build up
tricky
that arc.
around the world flank.
He has ult already. Maybe we can get something done, but we have Cloak ult. Cloak ult isn't amazing, but it is something. We actually, TTK actually goes down. Oh.
Instantly, and Doom actually got caught out by that just a little bit too low. The healing couldn't be
Up,
there.
but there's the res comp.
Now, and Vision comes back into the fight. The team up also allows Doom to
That's the res comp for you.
Thieves have to kill 8 people instead of 6 in this particular engagement. Over the top comes that Galactic Legend here for Doom, but it hasn't found any purchase just yet. Perfectly
Nice.
called out by that invisible barrier, but Harvey's gone down. Shroud X still with 6.
Ooh, that's what we're afraid of. Nice burn. Great pick. We get the res. We're looking good. Shroud is looking good.
And this is good looks for Shroud X, but I mean, not a moment too soon.
Very good, very good.
He's already at 60%.
Has an uncharacteristic mistake to open the fight from 100 Thieves. A little bit too slow on the trigger with the strategist ult. TTK on the Magneto got
It was sloppy. We used a lot of ults, but we got the point. We take it. It's 100 Thieves, so we take what we can get.
That said, Shroud X had to expend everything. Fidel, 75% to the invisible barrier. Gonna be a critical.
We
factor
have
in
no
the next
ults
team
though
fight.
on
Terra
Shroud.
has a significant
Against
window here to
two.
pop the Kraken impact. Maybe find some
Fidel
resets.
needs to get ult as fast as possible.
Up we come.
Duck's dead. Fidel's dead. Everybody's dead. GG. Oh my god.
There are one of the strategists by Delano once more. We are going again and again, folks.
Oh no.
Kraken impact, devastating Shroud X, and it's funny how different this triple strategist comp looks against a team like Heart of Thieves, Jake.
Man, Delana is just such a monster. Another instant pick off onto Fidel. I think not only did he need to get a kill, if he got any other kill, I'm not sure it would have been enough because Fidel would have had that invisible barrier online to potentially.
Again, very good wall placements to keep in mind.
Was
Putting them above. Very good. You bring them to the choke. You have those 2 walls. They don't shoot the 2 walls. You can do a big wall there. With the 2 there, there's damage. Okay.
My goodness, these duelists for 100 Thieves are making the life of the rest of the team a lot easier. As SJP tried to dodge away from that Meteor M, unfortunately.
This is like
to the ground as Dongmin cannot
good
connect.
pick.
Looks like there was a shield in the way. Terra has fallen now.
Good ult, good pull.
Invisible boundary in play for 100 Thieves here. Harvey's able to let that one go.
Heals.
The rest of 100 Thieves are able to get to 99. Now though, it's about finishing the job. It's a
Another
favoring Shroud X,
Hello,
but
ult.
as the Goddess of Death in play as Delena is looking to catch someone playing to the periphery. This would at least
Good
deny
burn.
Shroud X any good
Kind
position
of.
now. But there is a
Not really.
at the ready. It's gonna have to be used to bring
Doom
back
should
into the
have
fight.
res.
Vision hasn't built it
I
yet,
believe it's
Jake.
back up.
Super close though. Maybe a chance to clutch.
We
the
have
team
Born
fight.
again.
To keep the point in contest. The individual res comes in for now. Doom with the legendary on the flank, but already Vinny has struck, winning the duel. Over the
Nice.
now.
Good pick,
Comes
good
Doom,
pick.
Needs to find some kind of opening. Dive
Healers
into the back
just
line,
heal each
Strategists
other.
protecting each other magnificently though.
Oh
Thieves
man.
Struggling under the weight of these reses though, time and time again. Shroud X just right back into the team fight. The value of this team up being leveraged.
I mean,
100 Thieves got the pick at the start of the fight.
for what it is, Shroud's team is actually holding up.
But they got
Actually
raised because
good.
of the team up. Impunity then fell later on. They were raised actively by the karmic revival of Vision. So Shroud X, I mean, they
Camera
get so
speed.
many second chances here with 2 of their, I mean, 3 rather of these heroes being able to revive themselves. And then you've got the mass res potential. It's such a powerful team up, and 100 Thieves here just need to finish the job. They're going to stick with the triple Vanguard.
Good wall, good wall.
Super aggressive move from Shroud X. They
Get that
charge
Groot
right
ult.
into the
Good
back.
pressure.
Burst down
Great.
before the strategist can get to him. It comes in there. Stun comes in from Doctor Strange, but I just don't think there's any
Good mag
follow
ult there. That was
Shroud
good
X with
mag
the
ult.
support ultimates, looking to sustain through this engagement.
And Terra isn't
That was very smart.
there in terms of
Very
the
smart by
maelstrom
Dogman.
damage, so you know, it's an Agamotto that maybe they were hoping to disrupt.
Break root ult. Enough damage? Can we do damage? Oh, unlucky.
Invisible boundary going to be thrown up here. SJP trying to play carefully towards the back of the, but Delena is.
Delena goes down to vision.
Big damage there off the back of that Adam Warlock.
Great ult. Maybe.
Here's a Galactic Legend from Doom, but he's forced to play from the periphery, just nipping at the heels from the
Oh, that's so unlucky.
Oh, buddy, that's not good at all.
Maybe we have Born Again.
Of course, with that team up, they are ready to go again. Dongmin,
We have Born Again. He got it off, but it goes down.
Doom comes back into the fight, of course, with a karmic revival, but they give up the Adam Warlock. Nuck removed, brought back again.
We live long enough.
Virtually 9 players in this fight, and they're still losing. 3 of their individuals have been brought back into the fray by some method or another, and 100 Thieves still have a strength.
That was a very good job. Like a very good try by ShroudX. I don't think they can get back in. Even if they do, I think they just go wiped. Did Invis get hit by that? Hold on. Hold. I'm holding. I'm holding. Hold on. Okay.
They can't get off the point for even a second here, though, Mitch. It's an
Need the recap. We got the recap. We got the recap.
With impunities, Doctor Strange, the portal back in, and 100 Thieves.
We almost have I. We almost have I. TP. Let's go. They did it. They actually did it.
I didn't think they could.
Wow.
But hold on, 100 Thieves have a serious.
They managed to do that.
We are gaming. Finally, some good food. That was ridiculous.
Good job. They actually managed to do that.
So much of that from ShroudX could be owed to the fact that half of the team has a second bite at the apple, a second chance.
It's good.
They get eliminated.
That shows the strengths of the triple res.
Nuck, doomed.
7 deaths.
Return to the fight. Even other players, of course. I think
7 deaths is crazy.
Was returned with that karmic revival. Crazy stuff here. Great round from Impunity on the grid, of course. Vinny looked excellent, but man, it's a 6v9 out there.
Fidel with 31,000 healing on the Invisible Woman. That is absurd in this strat. They really are getting the most out of the hero picks. And yeah, you might be dropping a couple players here and there, but that's the value of the team. I mean, 100 Thieves, they can take the mirror if they want it. So far, they're staying confident in Delena's Hela, and for good reason. I mean, Delena was a big performer, won them a few team fights basically on his own with the opening picks.
Okay, let's see. Invis Mag, that's it. We have Nolts here. Almost have Res.
Well in the back half of the round, being very aware of the threat that Delena posed.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Delena was not able to have as much of an outsized impact on the game. ShroudX also want to try and take
great wall,
close quarters fight instead of play at long range. And it's all good for 100 Thieves. If they want to play at a long range,
wall
they
yourself.
have to give up the high ground. That seems to be a worthwhile trade for them now, but the Meteor M comes in from TTK. No big connection, little impunity.
Go for the 1v1. Doomed for Delena.
Okay, adamant about taking this fight against Delena, but they get topped up. Doomed is one shot right now. Delena's going to use the crow form
good.
to try and get
Good movement. Very good movement there.
That's the marking of the flankers, Jake, that you teased earlier. And that's how ShroudX are dealing with the heavy hitting Hela.
Big commitment of ults, though, comes in from 100 Thieves. Even without their Hela, they're determined to get this one.
We could res.
With the Kraken
that is an option.
First control seems to be going the way of 100
I think we're gonna go for it.
ShroudX gets a couple res. You have the portal.
God, triple res is so annoying.
100 Thieves haven't kept just yet.
They've had 2 reses so far this fight, and that's without the Adam Warlock ultimate.
We res, Vision res is this. Vision res in this, yep. Take 3. Everybody's back.
Thieves gonna have to kill them again and again and again and again. Speaking of which, Terra, he is in the mix. The Tainted Voltage is going to find the damage. Oh, that's ridiculous. Fidel brought back into the fight, but
that's not good.
Still able to win it out. These guys are playing COD zombies.
We didn't get any value.
Yeah, seriously, they just can't quite.
It was a good res, but we didn't get any value out of it.
The downside of the Adam Warlock res is, despite getting your players back into the fight, they're not going to have the.
And what I mean by that is like, what I mean by value is nothing happened. We got the res off, a big res, but we got no picks. We didn't get the point. So there was no value. All we did was feed ults to them.
Okay, once again, 100 Thieves are off to a very good start. I'm sure keeping Delena protected rather is definitely on the agenda here for this team.
Benny almost goes down.
Benny's got to respect that damage coming down. We saw the Terra Cloak thrown out there.
Mag ult, does he...
Coming over the top. I don't think there's a blind left here to shut down this Star-Lord. Delena, though, jumps into this goddess of death form and is able to put good damage down. You see how they're trying to
Pretty
force
good.
Vision out of the game, but here's that invisible boundary.
Desorb pretty
Aggressive
well.
is Terra.
Insane
Okay, nice little
hook.
catch there. Goes fishing, and Nuck is the one that gets dragged out of the middle of the map. They get the pick on the Mantis. Now, Vinny's a little bit low, but the healing is there in spades for 100 Thieves, and they're going to extend their lead even further after this fight.
Yeah, Shroud X maybe attempting too much. Oh, Meteor M, though, no shot. He's going to be able to get that one done. 100 Thieves have complete dominance of that team fight, and Shroud X dumped a couple of, I would say, wasted ultimates there. Groot and Magneto would love to have had those coming in for the retake, and 100 Thieves look to be evening the map score here, the round score, rather, I should say, on map
Very
1.
good.
As Delana and
Unlucky.
Terra, they have been unstoppable in these open spaces.
Absolutely. And they really now control this space. Doomed hasn't been able to find a good way, I think, to drag Delana down.
You have
and
to
they're trying
touch.
Avoid the Heller, I think, as it stands. Close to another Galactic Legend, though. Doomed comes in over the top. Soul Bond here means you can go a little bit more aggressive, and Doomed has now found the Winter Soldier. Can't commit to it,
Headshot.
big damage coming out from those shots. Rosterstone definitely leaves a mark, and Doom's forced to try and rejoin the rest of their team now. In we go. Soul Resurgence active for
The
Shroud.
Star-Lord
Now,
ult
Doom over
here.
the top has a Galactic Legend available, and it's going to be... Of course, they're cloaking down.
You had to
ultimately
Star-Lord
for 100
ult here.
Thieves, and that extra little bit of healing completely shuts down Star-Lord's damage over time. And Delana,
You have to
who
keep
was left
touching.
alone
Vision
by
has to get a
Doom, is now
res.
starting to dish the damage. It's knife after knife, and 100 Thieves.
I mean,
they
we could
try
have
to
either
get this
ulted or
nasty
just gone next
Guardians
switch, and they
team up
decided to go
called
next
Shroud
switch is
X.
perfectly fine.
It was a very close round 1, a blowout round 2, but still, the score stands to 1-1 on this first map. Shroud X, let's see if they can recover. They saved a couple ultimates going into Eldritch Monument, at least a little bit of an edge maybe. However, 100 Thieves, they've been so solid with these Meteor M's in particular. TTK always countering that Star-Lord ult, not letting Doomed run rampant as he had in that previous series.
And I guess, like for Shroud X, if this just comp doesn't work for you, there probably isn't a better option. You could try and target some of the quote-unquote weaknesses of 100 Thieves, but they're playing just a very, in general, solid composition. Lunar Snow is being habitually banned here, so 100 Thieves aren't probably looking to target the Adam Warlock. They're actually ready to fight Shroud X on this, what feels like very uneven ground. The fact that, of course, Res is so powerful, but you pointed it out, Jake, it's important. Karmic Revival does not return your teammates to full health. So there needs to be pretty quick healing that comes in to top them back up. And if you can't do that, then yeah, it's hard to sort of abuse that.
Yeah, when they're being res one by one in sequence, you're just never really fighting at full force. You're never able to really get back into the engagement. You're alive,
what they can
but
do.
You're not able to fight with that strength and threaten the objectives as you need to. 100 Thieves aggressively charging forward, taking position on
shots.
Not open just yet. Shroud X content now to wait for that moment to strike, and already Doom opens up on Delana. An uncharacteristic mistake there from the
Great
hell to
sleep.
get off so early.
Yeah, again, I think that's the matchup that is going to define how this Hell's Heaven map goes, Jake. Delana being out of the fight here for any stretch of time definitely hurts.
Yep, armed and dangerous.
For their absence. Good little crack and impact.
Star-Lord ult.
However, do they have the bandwidth to deal with the Star-Lord now, who's at large over the top of the fight? Delana's going to return with a Goddess of Death, and 100 Thieves just disengage away from this Galactic.
Damaged by Vision.
Yeah, it's well played for them, but it's going to cost them the flip. And even without the team fight, I think Shroud X are going to be feeling pretty good about being in control with this triple strategist comp. Once again, Delana being assaulted on the flank by that Star-Lord, not letting the Hela have space to work. Vision trying to pump in that damage, trying to deal with those duelists as well on the strategist role.
Oh, he could have killed Hela. Good burn though.
There's no surviving this. Okay,
Nice follow. Beautiful.
A little bit clean with it, I'm not going to lie. Look, I've got to say, we saw a great, pull there, I think, from Fidelity.
I mean, they're looking good.
Vinny out of position.
Have you read on break? They're not gonna lie. Thank you, man. What the heck?
I don't know, Jake. It's getting pretty scary. I think at this point. What are we watching here, Vinny? Not quite sure. Shroud X though. Oh, is that a DC? Oh, that's brutal. We do not have pause functionality yet in this game.
He DC'd.
So the round must continue, folks.
All right, 100 Thieves is a painful way to start. Can they get it done with just 5 players in the lobby? It's a tough one. Terra is going to try to make something happen.
Unlucky he DC'd.
Shroud X, they're not going to be merciful. 100 Thieves wouldn't in the same position. This is no holds barred competition here on Fight Night. And Shroud X holding on to their bank, not giving up anything for free.
And Terra coming back off spawn here. 100 Thieves in a 4v6 right now. 4v9, I guess, if you want to factor in the rest potential. Shroud X here. Should better close the map out as it stands, as Vinny has yet been able to return to the game. Then the lobby functionality, unfortunately, call a pause. So at least for now, the game must continue. Here it is over the top, Galactic Legend. So much to work with here for Shroud X that it's nothing 100 Thieves can really do. They have to let this map go. At least this round will fall to Shroud
That's
X.
so unfortunate.
Definitely how they were looking to start the series.
Duck stream for the boys.
Start losing Vinny.
I'm bricked, Nikolai. That name is amazing. Appreciate you.
Final round.
Glad you like the videos.
DC Shroud X showed that they're a team that is absolutely here to compete. That is actually a genuine threat to 100 Thieves. That first round wouldn't have gone their way if that wasn't
That's
the case.
unlucky that they DC'd.
On round 3, on even footing, and it goes towards Shroud X. Vision, I like that we got on that Adam Warlock cam. See why they're so confident in the triple strategist setup. I mean, we call Adam more like a strategist, but his damage number is looking a little bit more like a duelist.
And it's great that you point that out. And again, you know, Quantum Magik it hits very, very hard. You hit extremely nasty, especially with that right click, right? The cosmic cluster that, you know, gives you the vibes of like some of those more aggressively tuned, support characters from other games. It's really important that Adam Warlock can, I think, keep up that damage output in general, so you kind of justify the
Duck stream for the boys, for the boys.
Strategist. I don't know, man. The comp just seems so powerful for 100, for Shroud X. I feel like 100 Thieves have to target it in some way. Like, I don't think it's out of order to suggest an Adam Warlock ban and let the Luna Snow through.
Visions looks pretty good on it, and it makes the whole game very annoying. But is that just going to be useful in domination? Does that work across multiple game modes, Jake?
It does work on a lot of maps. I think it's been the strongest team up in the game pretty much since it was introduced. It just like the individual res one after the other on a bunch of key players who can, as a result, push the limits on their own lives. Like they take risks.
Okay, that's so funny.
Otherwise, okay, if I do die, if I do lose that 1v1, it won't matter. I'll just res myself right back into the fight. And 100 Thieves, their comp is a lot more dependent on just making no mistakes ever, never losing the first pick, never being traded out. And so you can see when the fights go a little bit towards 100 Thieves, Shroud X still has the resilience to make comebacks with those reses. However, if 100 Thieves drop one early, it almost always is going to go the way of Shroud X. So I think strategically, I like what Shroud X are playing. I think 100 Thieves have stayed confident, though, in this Hela pick for a reason. Delana has been a very consistent producer on the hero. I don't think one map is enough for you to lose faith in that. I do think, though, it's a great call out. Maybe prio that Adam Warlock ban at some point, whether it's first ban, whether it's third, maybe the Loki ban is more important. They really want to deny the Loki and make sure it doesn't get protected. However, yeah, like breaking some element of that team up seems like a good idea, at least at this point in the series.
Let's take a look back at the highlights, because this was scary at the start for Team Shroud X. In fact, Call Me Chris in the chat says, why don't they just mirror the Bucky Hela? We're down bad. Don't they get it? Later on, Shroud X takes control with the exact same comp. Can you keep doing it? Or if Vinny was in the game, this was 100 Thieves. What do you think, Uber?
It's all got to do, I think, with the level of access you have to the Hela position. I actually think, personally, there are some convergence maps where it gets a little bit harder to dive her. I think that if like you're playing Star-Lord on, let's use like Symbiotic Surface, for example, you can obviously wrap around, but it's usually a little bit easier.
Jolly.
And, defensively, at least the Hela doesn't have to be a lone
Convergence.
ranger. She can play close enough to one of those strategists that you can.
And
operate in
arguably
game.
the hardest
Frankly,
first point to
even
take.
if we are on a different map, Delana needs to be able to fend for themselves and actually, be
Adam bans,
there's no
they
reason
can't
why
do
he-
the res
if you wanna
comp.
tap this guy, he will
Aren't.
die. So,
Yeah.
Delana, big job, I think, on their shoulders, but winnable.
Production,
Adam
those
Warlock
bans
is
are
gone.
reversed from the last map, just so you know.
Yeah, thank you, Jake, for catching that one. Adam Warlock is banned. Wolverine is banned. This is looking pretty fun already. Also, Vinny disconnected for the night, so Nadeshot is going to be filling in on that group moving forward.
Lit,
Mitch,
love that.
best of luck on the
So
cast.
dope. Yeah, you don't even need Vinny. You'll be fine. Nade's got this, bro. He's nice on the group.
He's so lucky.
We kind of glossed over it, but the ruling is the same in MRI and MRC as well. If a player sort of disconnects during the round, the result will be upheld. So Vinny is able to return to the lobby, but unfortunately, there's no rollback functionality in Rivals right now.
And I ain't got a billion hours of time to spare, so we just moving the show forward,
Yeah, it's just a bit unlucky here for 100 Thieves.
Man,
The ban.
that is interesting from Shroud X. I think that means they want to tilt the game towards these two protected duelists. They want to take Delana off the signature Hela and force him to show a little bit more depth. I actually am surprised to see this from Shroud X, because I know Vision is so solid on the Hela himself but maybe they feel like this puts the game a little bit more in their territory. I think the Hall of Regalia is maybe one of the better Hella map. It's really insane for Hella in particular.
Banning Hella on this map is smart. Well, I'm glad Shroud X got a map, but unfortunately it's because Vinny DC'd, more than likely, but at least they got one, so you take what you can get.
Bets, chat. Who puts up the most final blows? I have my money on Terra. Let it be known before the game begins for it to count. Uber, the show is yours.
Thank you. Looking forward to jumping into Hall of Jala here. We obviously didn't see it in that previous series at all. As we headed up, we were on Shibuya and then Symbiotic Surface instead. Great point there, Jake. Obviously, it's the kind of map that, of course, you know, we've seen Hella be very strong in right now, and to expect Namor and Winter Soldier to be the stalwarts is very reasonable. Obviously, very powerful. We still have the Star-Lord capacity here. Delena might fancy playing something with flank ability, even if there's not the, you know, ability to return back to the fight via that cocooned revival. So plenty of options here, but we're going to come out of the gates, of course. We'll see Shroud X will be the ones to defend.
And for the first time today, we're going to see Loki's on the server. This has been banned, I think, pretty much every single game today.
Great hook, early mag bubble out.
Vision just barely couldn't result in the kill.
Great hook back.
Carried down already. That's
Hera does go down, though.
He knows that Loki is in this game, so
Nice. Delena should go down. Nice.
The invulnerability frame's quite crucial. Delena, though, gets taken down here. This is nice looks from Shroud X. They're happy to push right up, and 100 Thieves
Looking good.
weren't quite ready to see the teeth here grown by the defenders.
Yeah, seriously, I love the confidence with which Shroud X is approaching this, right? Like, they get one pick and they say, all right, you know what? Let's double down. Let's just, like, run it down on you. Completely route the defenders back to their spawn, charge a bunch of ultimate. I mean, a lot of teams I don't think would have had the confidence to take that one player advantage and push out of these strong defensive positions, but I love what I'm seeing.
And you see that we're not seeing a defensive comp that just wants to like blatantly abuse that high ground. They're just putting Dongin and Fidel up there for the time being. Nuck trying to control things from a distance now. Rejuvenation Domain is going to be thrown down for Shroud X as they try and drag this fight out as long as possible. Vision does have Kraken impact available. They'd love 100 Thieves to sort of forge out into the opening that might be about to happen here. Here we go. Got a mischief popped, and it's going to be another invisible boundary popped here by Nuck. Of course,
oh, it must be like bugged or no?
Invisible woman who we've seen a lot of over the course of this series so far. Delena was out of the fight early here, and Shroud X are staving off these attacks comfortably.
It must be like
beautiful
UI must be broken.
He's just farming on this defensive Loki, matching everything that the attackers can bring. Terra looking to find some opening, is walled in. Oh, hold on. Okay, he's gonna fall back out of the engagement, but Fidel found another pickoff once again. 100 Thieves cannot.
Shroud X looking good. Ooh.
They don't want to play out in the open, and I kind of understand that, but it doesn't seem like this is the play either. Moving through this choke, even the most innocuous
Shroud X looking good.
Can actually, you know, blow you up. We're seeing invisible woman getting kills on the psionic vortex, for God's sake. Vinny taken down here by
nicely done.
Once again, we're going to push right on up. We are down to less than half of the time bank for 100 Thieves. A minute 44 to play.
Bitch, these are the top dogs in NA. They were supposed to smoke this best of 5. They were supposed to make this look easy. Shroud X, they're an up-and-coming team. Sure, you know, they've been impressive.
I think
but they weren't supposed to make this so competitive.
100 Thieves might need to take a different angle.
400 Thieves on this offense.
But going this angle is so good to contest the high ground. They got 4 ults. Pretty sure realistic. I mean, we have defensive ults. Wow.
Gonna get sucked in straight away with a nasty bionic arm. Here's a prison coming down though, and over the top you can hear the Galactic Legend being popped. It's Doom that's trying to go to work on 100 Thieves now. They've already lost Delena again. They've been picked off in every one of these fights so
we can recover this.
DTK is in deep trouble.
We can recover this.
Eventually, and once more, Shroud X run riot over.
Great job. Holy.
Playing with such confidence, even getting picked off on the Invisible Woman before the fight starts. It's like a worst case scenario right there. Losing your strategist. Shroud X really have a mastery of how to approach this choke point. 100 Thieves have come to the same position time and time again, and they've been routed in much the same way over and over again. Only strategist ults online for 100 Thieves that should help them get through the choke, but won't really help them secure the kills. Now, they're going to take the approach in the open, down to the final team fight. Shroud X, one pick could secure them this full hold.
All right, they're going to go for the pretty standard approach here, Jake, and feels like a concession that. Let's see what they can make happen.
We have some ults, no support ults though. That's a lot of damage. That's a great ult.
Beautifully done. Terra flattens by the Meteor Dongnin. Just devastating there with that Magneto ultimate. And that's really not ideal.
If you can't get a strategist with the Magneto ult, getting at least one other person is perfectly fine.
They're close to another strangling prison. Vinny tries to pop one here, but it's desperation. It smacks of it here for 100 Thieves. And Vinny too will fall. Dongmin too solid. Here comes a prison from the Shroud X.
And there's the TP.
Can't afford bail, folks. Hate to break it to you. Terra, in the midst of it, will fall. And we have just witnessed a full hold on the best team in NA by Shroud X.
That's insane. A full hold by Shroud X.
On my bingo card. Shroud X are coming out swinging on 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves have been top dog in NA for weeks.
Sub them in.
Untouchable. Put Nade in. Put Nade in, bro. Surely Nade on Groot will save this game.
I mean, it's brutal. I mean, Nate needs to fire up the stream. You know what I mean? He's getting absolutely booked by Shroud out there. Homie needs to get behind this team. Or, I don't know, just get him in your facility, mate. So we don't have any internet drops. Poor Vinny. I mean, that's such a tough pill to swallow from their previous game. But 100 Thieves thought they could target the strategy that Shroud X have been, you know, blatantly abusing for that first map. There's more where that came from.
Psylocke.
Coming to the party with a bag of tricks that's a little bit deeper.
I think Psylocke is a good pick.
But I will say,
I think you have this play mirror.
Is the kind of map where defenders are so advantaged. Like it is, it's pretty slanted against you. It feels like Numbani, if anyone gets that reference in that sense. So let's see what Shroud X can do. But 100 Thieves can also abuse those same topographical advantages that Shroud X, leaned into.
I mean, it would be a real feather in the 100 Thieves cap if they can just secure a draw on this map. If they can also make the full hold. The challenge is that from this position, that's the best you could do. And Shroud X, they have the opportunity now to take a different strategic approach. Where 100 Thieves on that first attack, they have to attack
33%.
To play like a general comp that can get through the whole map. It can make good progress. Shroud X are queuing up here with the rocket, which I actually think could be really powerful. Although, hold on, I've been baited.
We're going for a TP play, so we don't have to fight in the choke. Smart.
Looks like they're happy to take this fight. They're going to set up behind that high ground position. We've seen this before.
A lot of damage taken already, though.
Through a choke, though, to some degree, but again, this is exactly where Rocket Raccoon is going to succeed. You weren't being trolled. Nup is on the Raccoon.
He went back to the rocket from the Loki, and if they're able to charge
great hook.
CIA, it could be really powerful.
Insane hook.
On the Groot, door gets slammed.
Oh.
These Vanguards can't quite get it just yet, though.
Almost.
Oh, God. A big charge there from Dongmin. Does pop a Maelstrom, but it's protected there by 100 Thieves. Still
We almost have support ult. We almost have 2 support ults.
Cut them off from the rest of their team, though, and over the top goes Terra.
2 picks. We have res, right? We do. 6 up. Surely we win this, no? Yep.
To get this healing going. Unbelievable. There's the CYA. Pop big damage boost here for Shroud X. And quick as you like. They lay the smackdown on 100 Thieves, and they're looking to finish the job. TP, though, comes out as desperately the Thieves are trying
great,
to fight for their lives.
Great.
But Harvey's going to be traded out now. TTK
oh, those TTK.
with a Meteor M, but Delena has fallen. Here
nice.
Legend, and Terra can't do too much. His wings are clipped, and he lifelessly clatters to the ground.
Nice.
Next on the menu was SJP dealt with now. It's Acronym Central.
Oh. The back? Oh.
But all you need to know is Shroud X are in a position to close out.
Hey, they did it.
And they go up
Insane.
2-0 in this first of 3.
Mitch, it's more than the map. They're in the position to close out this series. Match point against 100 Thieves. When was the last time we saw anybody get to this threshold against this 100 Thieves squad? I mean, if anything, 100 Thieves, we've seen more often than them just 3-0 everyone, non-competitive games. It's looked like they're just unbeatable on a different level. It's lonely at the top, but maybe not for long. Shroud X stacks, they've been watching, they've been learning, they've been improving. They just put that work in here on Hall of Jolly.
And Vision just continuing to maintain absolute GOAT status. Great job there for Doomed over the course of the game. And you're right. Throughout the entirety of MRI, nobody held a match point against 100 Thieves.
Should I catch it back up?
And that was in the course of a first of 4. Stunning stuff here. Again, and you know, you can't really mitigate that. You can't say, oh, we're going to play disconnected. That was just very, very solid.
No.
Charlie was
we know we have the edge. We're going to go all the way down to your spawn doors. We're so confident that we have more resources right now. And I think that's the right read.
I appreciate
I'm super
everyone
impressed
stopping
with
by
how
and
Shroud
watching.
X, because really, I
Whether
don't
this
think I've
is
seen
the
any
last
team
map or not,
make
I
100
might
Thieves
make this a
look weak,
normal
look
thing.
so
May not.
beatable
I
as
don't
they
know.
just did on that last
If everyone likes
Especially
it,
on their
then
map
I'll
pick,
keep it
right?
going.
That's something you have to keep in mind. Loser gets to choose where you're playing. So that was 100 Thieves' choice. They get full held. Now we're going on the path. I don't think you're going to see any kinds of full holds here. But Uber, if you were watching EU, OG taught us that you can, instead of playing duelist, you can switch over to a Jeff. You can small the whole team. You can throw them off the map, and eventually get 3-0'd.
I'm very excited about the idea of like getting good burst damage against like these very healer centric things, and technically throwing yourself off a cliff with a bunch of people in your belly is burst damage. In fact, it's probably the best burst damage available to you in the whole
damage.
game.
Infinite.
Production, do we have any Jeff clips available? If they're still saved somewhere and the players are still taking 32 minutes to load into each lobby?
Is it the clips of Jeff dying, or which
I would
clips
love to showcase the land shark.
Can I get
the
ASMR
two
Jeff
ultimate
death
uses,
compilation?
Jake. Yeah, just the two successful on the path. Tanuki, shout out to my favorite Wolverine turned Jeff main. Unfortunately, OG Esports did not win EU, but he taught us all what you should be doing in your ranked games tonight.
It is one of the better maps for like the Jeff cheese to like pull people off the map. It's just so risky. It's so inconsistent. The fact that you need to carry people all the way to the edge of the map, like their teammates can just burst you while you're doing that, and then you die for nothing, and you waste a strategist, or you were a strategist, like you're consuming a hero pick. And so I think at this level, with how good teams are at, you know, calling the focus fire, at communicating with one another, at spreading out so that Jeff doesn't get like a 4, 5, 6 man ult. You know, I think the consistency, we'll see. I can't imagine either of these squads being interested in going that direction for Yggdrasil path. What I'm wondering now, though, is do 100 Thieves have mental fortitude? Like, you know, this is a team that hasn't often been tested. They're insanely good at the game. Like, don't get me wrong. These guys are obviously all like some of the best players in Marvel Rivals, period. However, they're not a team that's been through the fire and the flames of so many stress tests, of constantly being challenged and pushed to the limit. They've been sitting pretty at the top.
The longest yap session ever.
Will they be vulnerable? First time with their back against the ropes, will they be able to win 3 straight and steal the Rivals Fight Night crown? It's going to be a good series. It has to start right now if you're 100 Thieves, and we're just waiting for these players to get into the match. Real quick shout out to our chat. Thank you for not giving in. Thank you for not subscribing. If we get 2 more subs, Hexagrams doesn't get fired. But if we hold strong at 123, we get a new talent manager, Uber.
Really? So if we don't get any subs, we get a new talent.
No subs, new talent manager.
Wait, who's the current talent manager?
I think it's Hexagrams.
Okay.
Don't give us your Twitch primes. Don't
prime us.
Yeah.
Hold strong.
Get away from the prime button. Don't look at it. Don't just make the window small enough where you can't see it. You know, it'll make it easier.
I mean, bro, then like, how is Hex gonna test his like antiquated humor in the chat if he doesn't have his job?
He wanted me to throw.
Do you think aim is the most important thing in this game?
Started. I think that's what was supposed to happen, but I didn't see the message, and we're already there. The players should be done with their bathroom break, Jake. So we made it through. The chat's
It's a good question.
They didn't have to
I think aim is important.
Ads that we hit the button on and don't really make money from Twitch.
But I think
so. Let's talk this game. If you miss games 1 and 2, who is your early MVP?
a good question. Aim is important, but I also think this knowledge about the game is also a very important aspect.
They look so solid as a full
Whether
team,
that
but it's
being
not, I mean, and again, to be honest, against a team like 100 Thieves,
whether that being knowing
no one
abilities,
player is gonna
knowing the
carry
map
game. They're
layout,
winning because they
knowing
have better
positionings.
They're not winning because like one individual is
I would
like,
say
doing the most. It's about the team play. It's about the coordination.
Okay.
maybe 70% aim.
This is bread and
Yeah,
butter
it also
for
depends on the
Shroud.
hero you
It's
play.
how the
That's
best
also
teams
very
get made.
true. Very true. Very true.
Thank you for the unfollows, chat. They don't go unnoticed. Appreciate you, Uber.
Maybe
Let's
60%.
get into this, baby. I am
Well, anyway,
so
I mean,
ready
yeah,
for
it's
300
definitely a
Thieves.
factor.
It's a reverse sweep now or nothing if they want to come out on top and win that $1,000. And yep, Adam Warlock, get out of here.
I actually kind of question the Adam Warlock ban. I don't think the Star-Lord triple strategist team up is that good on this map in particular. I think it's very open and so
Yeah,
it's
maybe
very hard to,
60%
like,
aim.
Talked about like marking Hella. I think it's like impossible.
40% is just like knowledge of the game and stuff.
So I'm interested to see this for 100 Thieves. Then again, I don't know that it matters so much. I think 100 Thieves can play anything.
All right, so we got Rocket protected, so we're definitely expecting Terra to be running the Bucky, right? You try and minimize the Namor damage with the Luna ban.
I don't think they're going to ban Winter Soldier here, Shroudex. Yeah, in response.
Yeah,
they just
I like
want
the
to deal with this Delena Hella. I think on a map like this, it's pretty good. I think like the flankers are a little weaker, especially because now you're really dealing with high ground that you can't master if you're on the attack side and you're trying to get a Star-Lord in position. So Hella just can really ease in on defense a lot more, and on that attack
Solid
side,
bans.
get into good position. So
You think loser Q?
likely the Winter Soldier paired up
Loser
with
Q
that
is
Rocket
real?
Raccoon here, a team up that's definitely been used to great effect.
Yeah, definitely eyes on Doomed and Terra. We talked about this going in. We would have called Terra probably the favorite in the match.
To me,
100 Thieves
I don't
were the
know.
favorite
It's
overall,
like
but so far it's been the underdogs. It's been Shroud X all series long, and I mean that was a crushing victory on Half Jalia. It wasn't just a win.
I mean,
was a
it could be a
100
it could be a
Thieves.
thing.
So they
It couldn't
had
be a
things to
thing.
recover and come back for a
How I
first
see it,
seed.
you
That's a
shouldn't
momentum
let
for any squad.
that being a thing factor how you play.
I mean, the fact that we are
Like,
watching
I think
100
if you
Thieves
play
here,
to
and
the
point
best
the
of your ability
sword,
every
Shroudex
single
are
match, you're
trying
going to be
spot
fine.
to them out of our
It doesn't matter if you win or
fight
lose, you
against
should
Absurd,
always
but
focus
they
on
got
improving on
themselves
yourself.
another map pick here. They got themselves
Sometimes
another
you get
opportunity to
not good
try
teammates.
and stabilize
It's
in this
this
series.
how the game is
This is the kind
played.
of map, again,
Sometimes you
where
get teammates
it's
that are
probably a
good.
bit harder, I think, to abuse
I
the
think
sort of defender's advantage
it can be
on
random
this map. It will be
sometimes.
Shroudex, though, starting on D. Let's see the setup they go for, of course. It's been a long time since
That's
we've
how
seen
I think about
Punisher
it.
sort of leaned on here in this Rocket combo, but we know that Winter Soldier's going to benefit greatly from that. Outside of that,
And
Jake, pretty standard
how I think
setups
about
on
it,
both
to
sides.
me, doesn't matter to me.
Mirror, both teams have the same read on the
It
meta.
could be a factor,
Curious
it
to see
couldn't.
how Delena performs, though.
If you
on
have the
Star-Lord.
thought
I think
that
this is a
like
very
there's a
fun
loser
matchup
cues in the
for
back of your
Doom.
mind,
Delena, maybe
then
it's
you
second
might play
straight.
worse
These
than
little flanking
what you
duels
usually
tend to
do.
precipitate
So
larger advantages in the
there's
rest of
something
the
to be
team.
aware of.
Okay, well, ball given over to Delena. They just throw some damage in over the top, but no full commitment here. Same we're seeing from Doom
Ian
right
getting
now.
all that
Delena trying to
damage.
use the absence now of the Star-Lord to put pressure down the enemy front line, but Vinny has already fallen. That is one Vanguard out of the game that has to be returned here via the BRB.
We're just curious because I've had some big win streaks and big loss streaks.
One of their hard hitters. They too, though, will be returned
Yeah, I
pretty
mean, that
quickly. Impunity just very out of position there, but Domin's able to trade
that's just
it.
how the game is
See why they're
sometimes.
already active.
Even I
Looking
get
for that
those.
damage boost now, really looking to push Shroud X away. But here comes
I
the
understand
ultimate
where
Squirrel
you're
Girl
coming
and
from,
Venom.
and I know a lot of people always talk about it. Like, it's definitely,
Yeah, see if they look to commit here. Impunity gonna be on the long walk back
It
to
could-
spawn.
for all I know, it could be a thing, but
They look to move in. Invisible barrier,
I don't let that
keeping
affect
Shroud X
me.
stable. Extremely low targets. Vision, though,
When I play, if I start losing a couple games in a row, I will always get off and take a break.
And that's great awareness.
Like,
of
if
the
I
map because it
lose-
seems like Shroud X has
If I
made
lose
this
one
defense
game,
with the minimum
I do
possible
well in that
resource
game.
commitment.
Maybe it's like I didn't have the best teammates. Maybe I messed up with my positioning or something like that. So I'll do another one. In that second game, if I do worse than what I did before, I will take a break. Maybe 10 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Oh my
I've
god.
seen enough, Mitch. This
Vision is going
Shroud
crazy.
X squad is feeling themselves. They're playing with a newfound confidence, shutting out so far the best team in North America, looking to take that crown for themselves here at Rivals Fight Night. Already a beautiful defense, immaculately played. 100 Thieves, they have a bit of an old bank advantage here, but will they be able to leverage it? It's
Great
not
ult.
much to work with.
Oh, buddy,
Great
here comes
wall.
the combo desperately. Vinny's trying to throw an Iron Bark wall up here to protect 100 Thieves. And now come
Good
back
follow
into something of
damage,
their
great
own.
ult.
They're able to stop the combo.
I had a 9-game win streak the other day, longest one I've had. I got to where I'll just quit playing comp if I'm losing, like you said. Take a break, come back another day. Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Yeah, I think that was potentially a little ill-advised from Shroud X. They go for like the all-in YOLO dive early to catch.
Or
the
if you
Thieves off
do
guard.
lose
I
that
think that's way
match,
too quick
you get on that
to be
lose
caught by
streak,
that. The invisible barrier
I would go
from
back
Magik
and watch
keeps
the
everyone up.
replays
They're
of the
gonna go
game
for
you
the
did.
strange TP though on the defense. Try to make this full hold happen.
Yep, here's the touch. Doom's going to be the first one out here. Vision a little bit low. Impunity just ceased to exist pretty quickly. And a Galactic Legend from Delena is going to make it pretty hard for Shroud X to develop a foothold here. But they've bled a lot of clock. Almost 3 minutes shaved off here before 100 Thieves were able to get that first checkpoint on the map.
100 Thieves bending but not breaking there. They get it over the line on first after a potentially over-aggressive move from Shroud X. Hard to fault them for making those moves. I mean, they've been very successful in the past. I think, though, in the face of Harvey's Strategist Ultimate, maybe it was a little too much too far.
GTK here definitely wants to try and make Shroud
I think
X
going back and
uncomfortable
watching
on the
replays
side
of your
ramp.
matches is
Super
always a
great
smart
for
thing to
them.
do.
They don't have such an easy
Even if
line
it's
to
like
play from. Delena, keeping Doom honest there.
Not watching the entire thing, you could speed it up, do exit, 4 exit, or just go to each time you die, go back a couple seconds, see what happened that led you to die. You could easily improve from there. Less mistakes means more opportunity. Oh, let the rocket go. Great. Holy. Great wipe.
5-6 down, and it's a team wipe. Shroud X take full map control. Even a couple ultimates were expended there for 100 Thieves. It got them nothing.
4 of them. 4 ultimates expended. That is a huge spend. Shroud X definitely going to feel justified by just spending their invisible boundary and CYA into that engagement. That is such a massive blowout in terms of ult economy.
Yeah, sometimes hard to think about it. Think about it. You know, like, what could I have done better even if my team is rough? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still make mistakes at my rank too. This is something that there's always going to be a mistake. There's always going to be something you can improve on. That's just like the nature of this game.
Pushing the limits of what's possible, but I shouldn't doubt this Shroud X team.
Players are always evolving, getting better. In turn, you have to get better as well. Whether that be minimizing mistakes or anything else.
I mean, 100 Thieves are just right back in the same position. You're right. The Echoes are going to be continuing on into the round as look at
Shroud X is looking rather good, actually. It's a good swap. Ult's behind. Yep.
Here comes Doomed. SJP trying to dodge away from it. Don't overextend.
That's unlucky.
Early, but going to be brought back into the fight now. Gotta respect Terra as well. Doomed is happy just to stay alive here and take some attention away, but Delena's really trying to make up for lost time and perhaps
a lot of damage from Delena.
Good exchange here for 100 Thieves in that
Holy.
front line. It looked like Shroud X had the better of them there,
They should be able to get another fight here, hopefully.
Yeah, incredibly well played by the strategist from 100 Thieves. I mean, frankly, they didn't have any business winning that fight. They were in a rough position. They were flanked from all sides, but they rotated around the cover perfectly. Manages to just outfight them without having really the resources to get any kind of tactical advantage. So well played by 100 Thieves. There's a reason they've been top dog for so long. Shroud X, though.
I can't tell if 100 Thieves is like trolling or not.
Amplifier, they've got barrier as well here for Fidel. That's honestly enough. What 100 Thieves have to say about this now? They've got a meteor ram and of course
pack down, Terra should be able to farm. Double DPS holds, we have full supports.
But it hasn't stopped Shroud X in the past. They've been able to overcome situations like this, but will it be the case here? Here's the barrier comes in. Terra wants to drop in with a Kraken impact and does get some debuff to apply, but no critical damage being dealt. It's the invisible Warman ultimate that's keeping Shroud X topped up, and there it is, the amplifier. Vinny's able to fall here. Rather, Domin makes use of it.
Oh.
Vinny back in the fight. Meteor M from TTK, another one that's questionable.
You must got him invis.
Connects. Delena wants to push back though into this engagement on that star.
Really good push. Didn't get hooked from that.
Physics gonna knock Terra back. They're not able to connect the biotic.
That was a really good push.
Group up here towards that far right side of the map. Dongmin though is down. We're in overtime here already. 100 Thieves have to get their skates on. They're gonna be able to win this fight and extend the map, but they're gonna be slim on time.
Yeah, Impunity gonna go for the
What
strange
the heck?
TP. I don't think there's really much hope for this one in the Desperate Rodriguez. Hold on though, wait, Doom finds one pick from the flank, but there's no one here to contest the card. It's gotta be Doomed himself. Hold on, Doom finds another, gets the bubble for that meter, but the point cap did come through.
Oh, unlucky, the point capped.
Well piloted by Doom.
What was that portal?
Interesting. 100 Thieves though. They've run
Don't let this guy in strange. What was that portal?
Broken, but they're here on third point. It's still winnable.
Both teams have won fights when they've been pretty disadvantaged in terms of ultimates here. Side of Thieves still have it on the table to finish the map. Of course, another big
portal was so weird.
By SJP. And then we come again. Impunity and Dongmin definitely getting hammered a little bit in that front line, but still, Shroud X want to push up. Great forward physics.
Great mag ults. Oh, couldn't follow up though. That's unlucky.
Good response, but it doesn't turn into any kills. It's purely for survivability for Dongmin. He backs up. CYA is in position now. 100 Thieves are happy to see these ultimates literally drawn out of Shroud X because they're a little antsy, Jake.
Yeah, both teams, I think, feeling the pressure of this moment. Delena now gonna rip the Galactic Legend, coming over the top, but Vision already found Terra, and that invisible boundary is denying much of the value of this Star-Lord ultimate. Shroud X holding strong. 100 Thieves, though, in a real position with 4 major
great Groot
ultimates to get
ults.
this next push.
Combo, damage, pop damage, nice, nice. Wait, oh.
Not going to be enough as the Thieves snap back into action.
Oh, go Rocket.
The amplifier from SJP gets them there. So in overtime, they have the chance to finish the map. ShroudX have nothing compelling really in terms of ultimates outside of that Galactic Legend. And TTK might be looking for their best meteor of the round, which unfortunately wouldn't be saying too much, but it might be enough here to at least get a map completion.
Yeah, TTK would love to find a kill with this meteor. Is going to have to focus on using it, though, for the defensive utility. Needs to deny Doomed for now. ShroudX content to play a
We're going to have to mag ult the Star-Lord ult in a second. Doom cannot get picked here.
Needs a ton of save from the rest of the strategist cast.
Yeah, you caught the same thing, Jake. Somehow those ShroudX have kept Impunity alive.
Res on the Impunity.
Will fall. Back into the fight, though, of course, with the BRB. It's time, though, to throw down. Meter M's going to be active, and of course, this Galactic Legend has to connect. Harvey's trying to dance their bubble, but it's not enough. They're going to be taken down. Vinny also chunked out.
Ready. Beautiful.
And stop 100 Thieves in their tracks. TTK trying to limp away here, but they know that their time is very, very short. And that CYA comes out a little bit too late here for SJP.
Nice.
And that'll be the hold here, just towards the end of the map. Shroud.
Now let's see. If Shroud can push, they win the series. And they beat the best team in NA, essentially.
Champion here in 3-0 fashion over in Rivals Fight Night. ShroudX, I don't think anybody thought that they would look like this on their first showing here in Rivals Fight Night.
They look incredible. They look so good. I mean, we've seen them, of course, under a different name, and you know, they did fairly well, but they've come a long way, I think, since that particular match. This team now, obviously, with Shroud's heraldry on them, have taken it to, you know, personally, the need to now overcome this 100 Thieves team. And I'm very, very impressed what we've gotten from them so far, but they still need to finish the job. And again, at multiple points, 100 Thieves could have been full held on this map or stopped before a crucial checkpoint. That's still possible for ShroudX. They need a map completion, and it's not a guaranteed thing.
Super interested to see if we're going to see any kind of strategic change up for ShroudX if they want to approach attack any differently. Wouldn't be shocked to see just running it back on the mirror match. That being said, Dongman on the Strange, I mean, this is not really the map for much portal shenanigans. Maybe you could like portal your Star-Lord into the flank. I'm trying to think about how to make this work. There's something to be said for that. Maybe, you know, put somebody behind as a distraction. I would think that could be good for something like a Hela, but of course is banned this game.
You could portal up where the 100 Thieves are standing right now, with TTK and Co are. Okay, Dongman still on the Strange. So if not for the portal, then for what?
Portaling, right?
Okay, there's a Punisher in play here. So they actually are going to go with this
strategy, use the Punisher portal to shoot through it.
Yeah. How does this go, though? Impunity caught on the wrong side of a wall, though, and I don't know. I think ShroudX might want to maybe mix it up or go back to what's worked for them so far, because this gambit hasn't paid off.
Yeah, I think a little bit too tricky for their own good. 100 Thieves read the play, and they just charge forward on the offense. Hey, you're going to sit still and build a portal? We're just going to run it down to your spawn door. Can't do it in your own spawn. You got to come out. They punish it. So really great catch from 100 Thieves, being aware of an unconventional strategy that ShroudX were taking.
Yeah, not enough room there for ShroudX to set that up. Now, though, see, lightly occupying the high ground. Delena not fully committing to it here as ShroudX are about to round the corner. Over the top we go. Standard thing. Blaster barrage thrown in. Soften them up a little bit with that extra shielding. Impunity dies first yet again. Kraken impact being used by Terra. And it is definitely one of those fights. Catching on to the Rocket Raccoon there, even though it looked like he was out of range. A confident cleanup for 100 Thieves.
Big team wipe, and, you know, only popping the Kraken impact. You're feeling pretty great about this defense. So 100 Thieves still got some fight in them. They look to make this reverse sweep happen. It all starts here on Yggdrasil Path, and to be honest, a full hold would be a great way to bring your team's spirits back up after how brutal Hobbs-Jalia was.
Impunity needs to be kept alive here. They're just getting chunked down pretty heavily. Again, it's just like the Star-Lord play with the barrage. Look at Impunity's health. Dragged out of the fight. That's bad. Impunity's in trouble in the back line of 100 Thieves. That is dirty. What a nice pull there for 100 Thieves. Again, bionic arm, and you also have force physics to yank someone out of position. It's really scary to be isolated like that. And here, this Galactic Legend comes a little bit late in the day. Doomed has already gone down. Vision, though, doesn't let get Benny. Nice little hook, though. Delena, can they limp away? They do get out with full health, no less here. ShroudX not able to capitalize on a golden opportunity, Jay.
And Vinny also couldn't get res. He's on a long walk back from spawn, and ShroudX knows it. They're charging forward, diving into these defenders, trying to deny any kind of map position for them. Pulling from Terra, but on to Dongman. He's got the shields ready to tank that. 100 Thieves coming out of a death choke here. This is a difficult retake.
He's going to come in from over the top here, try and break the rest of his team out, but he might be a little bit isolated. Here's Dooms now in the back line. Galactic Legend burns through Harvey, but not able to finish them off. They get healing in the nick of time, and buddy, Shroud X are going to be ground to a halt here. Dooms finds the one, but I think he realizes there's nothing more to be done here. Has to dash away. Rocket Propulsion gets him out of dodge, but still Shroud X return to the drawing board again.
That's a beautiful retake. I don't know how they managed to get such quick picks coming out of the choke. Once again, though, 100 Thieves showing their prowess on this comp. Few ultimates in play, essentially a reset now, but whatever comes up first is likely to make a huge difference. Harvey, Delena, very close there, 400 Thieves. They could blow this one wide open.
Dongmin has looked so good over the course of this series, trying to bound forward, create that safe zone. As usual, it's Doom that goes forward with the barrage for a bit of extra damage. Vinny getting chunked. Keep an eye on the health bars of these two groups. It really seems to be a barometer for how this fight's going to go. They've got the CYA. There's the damage boost now active for Shroud X, and Delena gets picked off pretty instantly. Vinny's in an uncomfortable spot. They're going to try and run him down. Delena back in the fight. Can he be impactful quickly enough, though, as the Strangling Prison comes in and Vinny gets flattened? Everybody on 100 Thieves are pancakes as that Kraken impact cleans them up. And Shroud X, once again, also towards the end of the round, finally get this first checkpoint.
If they're gonna do it here on map 3, it's gonna be just as desperate as the offense from 100 Thieves, but so far, getting it through that first point is a big milestone, right? We see a lot of teams full held there. We see a lot of teams not able to open that cart door and get onto the second point. Vision wants to keep that aggression on. Beautiful wall, though, from Vinny. Does deny the pull-in.
Okay, big ultimate here from Doom trying to shut down that Kraken impact, but the damage just isn't there. He can't draw a beat on Delena, and Meteor M gonna be committed to the mix as well. 100 Thieves holding on to a few of those ultimates from prior. Now surely looking to punish the fact that Shroud X have to make it through this choke.
Doomed had Delena dead to rights there. It was TTK, though. The Meteor M protected that Star-Lord on super low HP, allowed him to turn around that 1v1 duel. And now, Shroud X on the retake. Let's see if Dongman can make the same impact from this Meteor M.
He's armed and dangerous.
Pouring down the damage from this high ground, making walk up very difficult.
He's keenly aware, I think, though, that 100 Thieves are playing.
Can you get a pick or something on Shroud side? Can you get Delena? Beautiful. 2. Big ult.
Okay, committing the Meteor M as well.
Oh, good flick. Good flick. That was really nice.
Harvey does not get away from this fight.
That's really good.
But they've got to do it again in this next fight.
Get the rocket.
Nice.
Rocket's hiding on the payload. They didn't realize for a second there. Nice job from SJP getting every little second.
He stalled for some decent time. Not bad.
Position. Probably just one last team fight here on second point. Shroud X have a big advantage in terms of the ultimates. 100 Thieves, 80% to that invisible woman, invisible boundary. That would make a huge difference. But will they get the opportunity? Knock very early Cosmic Yarn.
We have ults. Can we pop ults fast on Shroud team?
Especially with Vision trying to set up an impact of his own. The closer you get to victory, though, the more nervous it can get.
Why do we counter invisible here? We can. Burn. Burn. Oh no. That's unlucky.
And that's Shroud X once again sent back to Lumbridge.
Maybe a little bit over-aggressive from Impunity. The focus fire from 100 Thieves. The call came through and they bursted him even through that invisible boundary from Fidelity. Thought he was invulnerable. Thought he was.
Oh no, that's not good.
Unfortunately, he did not. And now Shroud X
what the heck?
Position. This is a much more difficult spot to be trying to come back in on the retake. Now you have to walk up through all this spam. Still, I think they should.
We have that. It's literally a battle of this right here.
Shroud X has got to be here. It's got to be now.
Maybe we can win.
If they want to close the series out and they sweep,
I'm gonna go to bed.
And they got one last chance to do it here. Doom takes
That's huge. That's actually insane. Really insane pick. Can we get Dogman get ult? Dogman has ult.
Shroud X have to make use though of the fact that it's a brief window, but they've got a player advantage and they've got a legend of their own. It's Doom. He's looking to try and close this out, but Dongman has fallen. Delena able to work through that Magneto. 100 Thieves though, still trying to hang on. It's Shroud X down to 4 players. Can they make use of the damage ebb? Doom knows he has to make a big play. Try and find a way towards the back line now. Here comes the blaster barrage.
Great.
Good damage. It's excellent damage. Duck's able to get rid of Vinny now. An invisible boundary goes up. It's Impunity falling.
That's
Terra
not good.
now with yet another Kraken impact. Fidel's already fallen. That's 2 kills for Terra in this fight. And a desperate portal has to be used for Shroud X. In they come once more, but Doom, it's a brief stint in the fight, and he's sent packing yet again. Terra trying to play safe here behind his Magneto, and this portal is not going to be enough. Shroud X don't have the gumption. Here's a prison though.
Huge.
Connection.
Huge.
To find 2 kills. There might actually be an opening here. Desperately, TTK trying to use the ball.
Huge.
Oh. The damage and for 100 Thieves in play. It's now expired. Vinny has a prison of his own, but can he get it off? Can he get into position? It's unclear. Shroud X now back with all their numbers. And
give this man a raise.
He turns Vinny into pulp paper. Here's what Groot has become on the other side. It's 100 Thieves now starting to run out of steam on this defense. A long fight.
You cannot get that. Nice. He had ult. Huge.
And TTK might be returned quickly, but it's not going to be enough to defend this now. Shroud X.
Let's go.
Managed to stay alive. The sweep is still on the table.
Please go now and vote Uber for Caster of the Year.
Good to see you still got
That's
the
actually
back
insane
up.
by the Groot.
That was nasty and unbelievable from Shroud X. I thought they were done, so I thought they had no shot once Terra slammed the door on them like that. But here they go. One last chance, one last minute on the clock. Shroud X looking to get in, and Doomed wants to take the aggression.
Can we keep going though?
Not letting them rest for even a moment. Neither team though wants to make a
That was
mistake.
actually
This is the
insane
last fight, the
by
crucial
Impunity.
fight to decide the map and potentially the series. At least Team Shroud X would hope. Impunity.
A lot of ults on both sides.
Help, the rest of those vanguards trying to pour in, but Delena, Terra open the fight with picks of their own.
Dongmin gets back in the fight, but Shroud X is still going to be down 1 player. Terra knows it. They're so advantaged. I think the combination of the force physics, biotic arm is just really scary. We saw, I mean, very quickly, Dongmin just got yanked out of formation. Luckily for Shroud X though, Jake, they have another chance. But they
More
use
fight.
SYA in that
You have the
fight.
big combo and Invisal. Maybe you can win.
A couple key ultimates though. It's going to be up to 100 Thieves to survive through this group combo. That's what's really scary right now.
Groot's trying to position high to get it good.
Delena goes in, takes a risk on the Star-Lord.
In prison.
Focus firing him before, so good to see he's still willing.
Insane in prison. It doesn't really matter though. We don't have enough damage coming in.
His own is a cracking impact here for Vision. He's going to bide his time though. CYA for 100 Thieves. Damage boost now active, but the wall's going to
Great hook.
to get the shots, and the Thieves are happy to disengage. Desperately, Vision tries to go in and isolate Vinny, but
That's
they're
unlucky.
the strangling prison, and that's going to be it. So close. For Shroud X,
Almost.
but not quite enough as 100 Thieves prevent the sweep and stay alive in the series.
Oh, so close they could taste it, but 100 Thieves snatch it.
We go one more. One more.
Opportunity for them to make the salty run back in this series. It's a long road ahead. 2 back-to-back map picks for Team Shroud X. Now we get to see, where do they want to take us? What's their best style, their best map? Exciting to see this Shroud X squad really take it to 100 Thieves, but they've got a little bit more to go. It's not done just yet.
I mean, such a great point, Jake. The fact that they have gotten through the map pick of 100 Thieves and have a chance to craft a battlefield that suits them best. Just a light work, 40k here for Vision over the course of the game.
45k on Terra. Well, that might be the highest I've ever seen. I'm trying to, that's ridiculous, actually.
That's crazy. Man, what a game this has been so far. It's great to see 100 Thieves show some life. Frustrating, of course, to have a DC in the first map, but then they just got ruined. I think of Hall of Jalia coming back now, though. They've given themselves a foothold pocket, but it's a long climb from here.
I thought they were going to be stopped at the second point. They get the checkpoint, Jake, and then I'm like, oh no, this series can't be done. I'm not ready for this match to be over. 100 Thieves,
Almost.
Terra, the Strangle Prison, the Root and Boot, the combo comes through, and we are moving on for 100 Thieves fans. Uber, this could have been a 2-1 series to 100 Thieves. Vinny, he disconnects during that opening game. We had a chance for Shroud Squad to close this out 3-0. Now I have a feeling we're going to a game 5.
I mean, okay, I don't hate that, honestly. I think Delena's looked so much better this game on the Star-Lord. We talked about this a bunch, like, if there's a chance to play Hela, maybe Delena's, like, able to just abuse the high ground on this map. And, you know, Jake also questioned it. Is Delena as comfortable on the Star-Lord here? I mean, they look very, very good. Terra, for me, though, takes the game over, you know, on the Winter Soldier. We are, of course, in a composition where you're abusing, you know, the team up. And again, I just like that damage output. 45k is just, you know, it's pretty absurd. It is a max length map. It's kind of about as much damage as you're ever going to see a player get at this level. And I mean, 100 Thieves are fortunate that Terra was able to put that showing on, because this fight here towards the end of the map, I think was really telling. You know, when Shroud X were very, very close, they lose a fight with their ahead and ult charge because Doom gets popped by Delena midway through their ultimate.
I think Harvey fittingly got MVP decided by the game as well, Jake. He had some massive boundaries being put down, keeping the team up. The Invisible Woman play, something to expect going into game 4.
Yeah, I mean, the strategist at this level, you're just not seeing mistakes. You're seeing incredibly clean play, perfect timing on the ultimates, perfect playmaking. I think you're right, though. Terra was the star of the show. If there's going to be somebody to start the comeback 400 Thieves, it's got to be this guy on your screen right now. And you're seeing why. The Winter Soldier is such a comfort pick for the team, or Terra, and they just farm with it. Vision as well, though, picking up the Winter Soldier himself and making this duel competitive and interesting. Shroud X have come to play here in Marvel Rivals, have come to compete with the very best, and that seems perfectly clear to me now.
Yeah, these bionic arms, man, are so sick. It's subtle, right? You don't normally see it, but generally, like, you just see Impunity fly across the map, surrounded by 100 Thieves players. You know that they're able to pull that sort of displacement combo off really effectively. We talked about a Pucket, right? The only way you can beat that burst healing is like by trying to like take someone out of position, as Wolverine does quite effectively. But between the Invisible Woman, like you mentioned, and that Winter Soldier, you can drag someone out of formation and punish them as well.
It'll be interesting if you ban Bucky. Does Terra bust out to Wolverine? Only time will tell. We got to go to a commercial break. When we come back, it's game 400 Thieves still kicking here on Rivals Fight Night.
A 5-minute break. Boom, boom, boom. Well, unfortunately, I have to go here. Some stuff came up, unfortunately, but I appreciate everyone stopping by watching the stream. I'll make sure to have all the VODs posted if you want to see them and catch the videos or any of the matches. And if you enjoyed the watch party, I'll make sure to maybe do this a regular thing. But again, I appreciate everyone stopping by for the stream. Of course. You can go to Shroud stream, you can go to the Fight Night stream, or any other stream. And I appreciate it. I might do this regular thing if you guys enjoy it, so yeah. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.